Good morning, 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It's 60 degrees right now, feeling a little warmish out there this morning. We'll go to 74. We'll have some thunderstorms later on. Really nothing to worry about. We'll deal with that forecast right after the news. Tens of thousands of newly declassified pages related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy were posted online overnight. Now, researchers say it could take a while to identify any important new details.
An overnight ABC News review of the decades-old files finds many had been previously released, though formerly redacted names, addresses, and sensitive phrases have now been unmasked. A 1961 memo to President Kennedy by a trusted advisor outlining his concerns about the CIA has finally been made fully public. There are also specifics never before seen on the spycraft of 1963, with memos outlining how the CIA tapped phones in the Mexico City embassies that had been visited by Lee Harvey Oswald in the months before the assassination. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Sorry, Tennesseans. Legislation that could save Tennesseans money at the grocery store is losing steam now in the state legislature. Here's Channel 4's Stacey Cameron.
A Senate subcommittee, they delayed a vote on a bill to exempt fruit and vegetables from sales tax because its sponsor was sick. So it'll come back next week, but it's likely not going to do too well because that same committee voted thumbs down on two bills, one Democrat, the other Republican, that would have ended the state sales tax on all groceries. So while the grocery tax bill will move on to the full Senate Ways and Means Committee, the negative referral, it means it's likely to die there for a second year in a row.
That's not good news. Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stocks ended in the red. The sell-off driven by economic and geopolitical concerns. The Dow dropped 260 points. The Nasdaq slipped by 305, and the S&P lost 60 points and flirted with correction territory once again. Tesla shares hit hard during the recent downturn, struggling again today, facing more competition in the EV world. That includes charging stations. Chinese car maker BYD announced it can now charge up its EVs in about the time it takes to fill up a gas car with fuel. The flash charging system can deliver a megawatt of power in between 5 and 8 minutes. General Motors and NVIDIA taking their collaboration to the next level, announcing they'll work on an AI for next-generation vehicles, factories, and robots. It expands the company's efforts to transform automotive plant design and operations. Investors also keeping watch on the Fed board. It wraps up its two-day policy meeting tomorrow and will announce what's next for interest rates. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
We've got stock futures on the plus side this morning. The Dow futures up 65, NASDAQ futures up 58, S&P futures, they're up by 13 points. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Looking good on the majors heading into Nashville so far this morning. Just one reminder for you here that Tennessee 13, this is in Hurricane Mills. So out 40 headed toward the Memphis area. Tennessee 13 northbound is blocked at Old Highway 13 Loop. That's blocked because of storm damage from over the weekend. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you Wednesday? It is March 19th of 2025. Boy, Joan, I don't even know where to start.
There is just so much today. This is it. Yeah, the embarrassment of riches.
Yes, we've got the rescued astronauts. We've got the whole conversation, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. We, of course, have Deportation Gate that continues to be talked about as well. So there is just a lot, and that is just scratching the surface. Oh, we've got the document dump as well.
Yeah,
with
JFK files. Mm-hmm.
So I think what we're going to do is at 35, I don't know if you have any firepower, Joan, on the document dump. If you do, don't talk about it now. We're going to save it all for 35. But there's a lot to talk about with the document dump. So we'll discuss that again at 35 here at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's start with the call between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, shall we? Now, this was a highly anticipated call, of course, and everybody wanted to know if this would lead to a 30-day ceasefire. Shocker, it did not. As a matter of fact, fighting does continue this morning in Ukraine with both sides lobbing bombs. And so we're going to get into all of that. But, you know, President Trump and the call with Vladimir Putin, Trump says it went well. Other people say it did not go well because they did not come back with a specific 30-day ceasefire. But they say, Trump says, that there was an agreement on a ceasefire on energy and infrastructure. That is what Vladimir Putin supposedly agreed to. He did not, again, agree to that 30-day ceasefire. But it does sound like he is willing, of course, if you read into this, that everybody's okay killing people, but don't damage buildings. I mean, that's very cynically what I came away with. But Donald Trump says that clearly Russia does have the upper hand right now. This is what the president said when he was speaking to Laura Ingraham following the call.
You have a lot of guns pointing at each other, and a ceasefire without going a little bit further would have been tough. Russia has the advantage, as you know. They have encircled about 2,500 soldiers. They are nicely encircled, and that's not good. And we want to get it over with. Look, we're doing this. There are no Americans involved. There could be if you end up in World War III over this, which is so ridiculous. But, you know, strange things happen. And I think we had a great call. It lasted almost 2 hours. Talked about a lot of things and toward getting it to peace. And we talked about other things also.
One of the things that I took away from that soundbite was Donald Trump saying no American troops right now, but could be if this whole thing ends up in World War III. So Vladimir Putin, in my opinion, does have the upper hand. I've been talking about this, I mean, for years now, obviously. But one of the things that Donald Trump said was that Ukraine was surrounded by Russia, about 2,500 or so Ukrainian soldiers surrounded by Vladimir Putin's troops. Now, Zelensky says, not true, fake news. I don't know. But here's the deal. Vladimir Putin has a lot more bodies to throw at this thing than Zelensky does. And by the way, you do have Europe, you know, the upper crust of European society are saying that, oh, these talks are a waste of time. These talks were a flop. The Germans are saying the talks were a flop. But to me, if any progress was made, then that is a good thing, is it not? But you knew that these folks who have had nothing to say, no help whatsoever in resolving this conflict, you know that they're going to say, oh, these were a disaster. These were a flop, because they want these discussions between Trump and Putin to be a flop. You know why? Because they haven't done anything. And they look like they, number one, they're a bunch of warmongers. Number two is that they look like they want this conflict to continue because they haven't done anything to stop it. So at the very least, and I don't believe that these talks were a flop at all, but at the very least, Donald Trump is trying. And he's done a heck of a lot more than Zelensky's done to stop this thing, or certainly Joe Biden did to stop this thing, or the entire European Union and NATO. No one has done more to try to stop this conflict than Donald Trump, that has cost millions of lives and billions of dollars. Now, there were reports, because there's a lot of reports out there on what was discussed in this meeting. There were reports that one thing that Vladimir Putin demanded, he had to have, was that the United States stop providing aid to Ukraine. Donald Trump says that's fake news.
No, he didn't. We didn't talk about aid, actually. We didn't talk about aid at all. We talked about a lot of things, but aid was never discussed.
Well, the fighting now has continued overnight with both sides on the attack. The Ukrainians, of course, accusing the Russians of going after the energy sectors. Russia disagrees. Who really knows what the truth is? You really don't. I mean, you can have the Ukrainians making these accusations. You can have Russia make accusations as well. One thing is for certain is that the fighting does continue. Zelensky says that Putin just isn't ready for a peace deal. He actually made that comment just a couple of hours ago. One question asked, this is again Laura Ingraham on with Donald Trump. One question was asked, and it's a legit question, by the way. People are saying that Laura Ingraham was combative. I don't believe that she was combative at all. But one question was asked, how can we trust Vladimir Putin, especially when it comes to China and their relationship with Xi Jinping? Because let's face it, the last thing we want, and this is what's happening, is a more solidified relationship between Russia and China. Of course, you've got Iran there as well. And so it does seem to me, listen to the soundbite, because it does seem to me that Donald Trump is working multiple angles, as he often does.
Well, look, we have our own discussions with President Xi of China, and he wants to get along also, and he's looking to get along, and we're looking to get along with him. And we will. We have a problem of trade where we have a very big imbalance with China. With Russia, we don't have that much trade, and they'd like to, and we'd like to also. They have some very valuable things for us, including very big forms of rare earth. They have a lot of earth. You know, they have a big chunk of real estate, the biggest in the world for a country by far. And on that, they have things that we could use, frankly, and that other people could use. I think that President Xi would like to get along, and I think Russia wants to get along with the United States. I also think we're a much different country than we were just a few months ago. We're a country that's now respected. We were not respected. We were being laughed at.
All right, so it sounds like, yes, Donald Trump is working multiple angles. Now, if you listen to what the president said, he's working not only on a ceasefire, but it also sounds like he's working on some bigger business deals and agreements between Russia and the United States regarding minerals and resources. Now, the reason why that's important is because Trump is also speaking to, as you know, Vladimir Zelensky, Ukrainian president, about a minerals deal there as well, possibly worth $500 billion. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is really important coming up. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Checking on 24 this morning. Looking good so far. No problems on 40 either. And 65 looking good as well as you make your way into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 5:15. As far as your weather for today, a high of 69 and high winds. Rain apparently later tonight as well. And right now, I'm sorry, KGB, you said the temperature is?
61 degrees.
61 degrees. It's Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So the reason why that last soundbite is so important is Donald Trump talking about how he is working on some really big deals with Russia regarding minerals and resources. He also, as we know, has been talking to Ukraine. Now, the left will say that Donald Trump is cozying up to dictators. But here's what's really happening. Part of what Donald Trump is trying to do, remember people always say that, he's playing, three-dimensional chess when everybody else is playing checkers? What Trump is trying to do is he's trying to become entangled with Russia financially through deals on the table, where Vladimir Putin and Russia can make a ton of money by working with the United States. And so what that does is that gives him some leverage over them. Same deal with Ukraine. So if we've got deals that will help make Russia and Ukraine richer, well, then that means that if Russia starts acting up again, if Vladimir Putin starts acting up, then Trump has some financial leverage over Vladimir Putin and Russia. That's what he's trying to do. And so he can say, listen, you can do what you want, but we may have to pull out of our deals, our financial deals with you. And trust me, Donald Trump will say to Vladimir Putin, trust me, you want me as a friend and not as an enemy. That's what Donald Trump is trying to do. He also spoke about working with China, Xi Jinping, and also working on relationships with China as well. So from a foreign policy aspect, it does sound like Donald Trump very busy on the world stage. I love how the Europeans and, Germany, and they're all saying, we knew these talks would be a disaster. Look, they're already fighting. They did come away with some semblance of an agreement. Ukraine is saying that an hour after the agreement, Vladimir Putin bombed, I think it's a couple of hospitals. That's what Ukrainians and Zelensky are accusing Vladimir Putin of. I don't know what's true anymore. What I do know is that Zelensky is a liar. What I also know is Vladimir Putin is a liar. You can't trust either one of them. Maybe that should be our poll. KGB, so here's our current poll. Like and subscribe on YouTube, if you would. You can watch us anywhere. You can watch the radio show anywhere. Facebook, X, 997WTN.com. My favorite place for you to watch is on YouTube for a number of different reasons. They've got a great chat going on YouTube. They're chatting right now, as a matter of fact. It's its own culture over there in the chat on YouTube. And we're going to talk a little bit about that at 5:35, because I believe that at some point, either today or this week, Joan, it's going to be Joan Jones Appreciation Day. Over there.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that also at 5:35. Right now, though, our poll, if you watch us on YouTube, you can take the Daily Dan poll. And right now, the poll is, do you believe that the Democrat Party will recover from the civil war, the infighting that is going on right now within the Democrat Party? I'm going to talk about that in a bigger segment in the 6 o'clock hour. And right now, what are people saying, KGB? Do people who have taken the Daily Dan poll, do they believe that the Democrat Party will able to, like a phoenix, rise from the ashes and reinvent itself?
Don't give him that much credit. But all in fairness, it's at 62% no, they will not recover, to 38% yes.
Okay. That's actually, I'm a little surprised. You know what another part of that question would be is, are you worried that they're going to do that? See, I think the Democrats, and I'm just going to just gloss over this real quickly in lieu of my bigger segment later on, but I think that what the Democrats need is a transformative figure, like Donald Trump was for the Republicans. And so a lot of people talking about Stephen A. Smith, and of course, I believe that Stephen A. Smith would be, he's of course of ESPN fame, I think that he would be a transformative figure for the Democrats. I believe that he would. But I don't know if it's worth it to a guy like Stephen A. Smith, who just signed, I think it's a $100 million deal, I believe, with ESPN or something like that.
It's a massive contract. I'll look it up.
But he should know better. He can make that kind of money in government as well. They all do, right?
Yeah, they do.
That's just me being snarky.
It's a 5-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah, 5-year, $100 million contract.
Wow.
So I like maybe in like the 2 election cycles.
All right, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about this more a little bit later on in the show, but there does need to be someone transformative with either within the party or someone who is a Democrat but outside of the party who can come in like Donald Trump did for the conservatives. It is 5:20 on Nashville's Morning News. By the way, the super text line is open, 615-737-9986. And at 5:20, Joan Jones has the news at 5:30. Hey, Joan.
Hey there. So we have some thunderstorms coming tonight, but will they pack the same punch as last weekend? We'll take a look with Stefano DiPietro. He's not going to tell us how to dress, although, I have to warn you now, you're going to have to figure out how to dress on your own.
You're going to need some galoshes.
Probably, yes.
Mm-hmm.
All suggestions we can take on the super text line this morning as well.
Raincoats and umbrellas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That kind of stuff.
Those stories and more coming up.
I'm just going to keep going, John.
5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
526, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into a Wednesday. Man, what a... Joan, I don't know if you're preparing for your newscast at 5:30, but holy mackerel. What a big day yesterday.
That scared me.
Did you watch the...
Oh, the splashdown.
Did you watch
Yes.
the splash? That's the...
Yes.
That's the actual sound of them splashing
I got
down.
you.
and
Probably a
everything.
bigger splash.
If you have to explain it, then, it's
Oh, you know what? Whatever.
The Dragon spacecraft. And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Love it. Gulf of America.
yeah.
Tee-hee.
So
Hold,
I was
hold on,
watching.
hold on.
Okay.
It's coming down.
Okay.
Did you watch this?
I did.
Okay.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
Love the applause.
Yeah.
Well, then now there's a little bit more. They check in, I guess.
And SpaceX Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
I mean, you have
Love
to
it.
just absolutely
That gave me chills.
love that. It did. I
Yeah.
see. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see it yesterday live, but just
I did.
watching it just a few moments ago. I mean, it is. I got chills. Amazing.
So one of the things, not to politicize everything, but I had to take notice. I was watching. I tuned to all the different channels so that I understand how each news organization is handling things. Over on CNN, oh gosh, what's his name? In the afternoons.
Jake Tapper?
Jake Tapper, thank you. Jake Tapper had to say they're splashing down in the Gulf of America, what they call the Gulf of Mexico and all the other parts of the world.
Oh, what an idiot.
Yeah.
What they
Yeah.
can't help themselves.
He's ridiculous.
They're all ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So one of the other things that I noticed, I was also watching, I guess it was Fox for a period of time, and the NASA person who was doing sort of the narration as it was coming down, she was saying that just a few minutes ago, these people were flying at 17,000 miles per hour through the air.
17,000 miles. It is incredible.
Like, wow.
Well, Elon Musk had a great interview with Sean Hannity. And, Joan, since you went ahead and politicized this segment,
Okay,
I
it
was
was me.
specifically trying to focus on the splash.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to focus on, but you politicized it. And so Elon Musk went ahead and he was on with Sean Hannity last night. And Hannity sort of sheepishly asked the question as to, okay, so there's conflicting reports as to whether or not you were asked by the Biden administration to, help rescue these folks. So you said yes, and then they pulled that offer and they pulled that question because they didn't want to give Donald Trump a victory. And so Elon was on with Sean Hannity. I will have that answer for you coming up next at 5:35. Also,
Nice tease.
coming up at 5:35, all the bigwigs are in town. I can't suck today. I'm just telling you.
Right.
That right? All the bigwigs.
Yeah.
So I've had an extra cup of coffee.
That explains the suit and tie.
Oh, please.
Ha.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about the politicization of yesterday. We're also going to talk about the JFK files dump and whether or not people are happy. They're not. And a whole lot more. Also coming up, it's Joan Jones Appreciation Day, apparently on Nashville's Morning News. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead on WTN.
Good morning. Now 5:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Metro Council just passed a bill that allows police to access a network of cameras within the community. That's the so-called Fusus technology. It allows police to watch surveillance video from private companies and residences, all of them who've already given the okay beforehand. Mayor Freddie O'Connell has said in the past that having that technology would greatly benefit Metro Police in solving crimes. An operations analyst for Metro Government of Nashville has been arrested and charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. Police say 48-year-old Jesse Stinson admitted to using Yahoo email to send child sexual abuse material to others. They do expect to file additional charges today. We're expecting some thunderstorms to arrive in the mid-state later on today, but Stefano DiPietro tells us for this one, we can just chill out.
What this means for us is that the severe threat is much more isolated. So not a widespread severe weather outbreak threat like what we were talking about this past weekend. Rough timeline between 5 o'clock this evening and midnight tonight. High wind gusts, heavier rainfall will be the main concern. Your tornado threat is very low. That is virtually zero, and that is certainly some good news.
Yeah, it sure is. Stick around. We've got the full forecast just ahead here. A couple of NASA astronauts, they're back on Earth after 9 months in space. An amazing splashdown in the Gulf of America last evening. Well, now comes the hard part for Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore.
With so much time spent in space, their road to recovery will be a long one. Blood and fluids shifting up can cause eye and brain changes in astronauts, and the pair will have to relearn the basics like walking, their bodies once again getting used to gravity.
That's ABC's Lionel Moisey. The astronauts are at a Houston hospital for medical evaluations. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a problem this morning. A stalled car. It's on the off-ramp right lane on 24 downtown, the eastbound off-ramp to westbound I-40 South Loop. Does that make sense? It's in Rolling Mill Hill. And watch it this morning. That's going to cause some delays. Otherwise, 24 is looking great. So does 65 and 40. No problem so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
536, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Welcome on in for Hump Day. You know, maybe we should call this Splash Day. We could do that.
Oh, I like it.
You like
Very
Splash
tempted
Day?
to move this back up so we could stop that.
All right, so a couple of things are going on behind the scenes. Number one, if you follow me on Facebook, Dan Manda Show, I posted a photograph, Joan and KGB, of a $1 bill.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, this is how cynical and suspicious I am of Brother Matt Murphy.
Oh, you
Why
think...
is there a $1 bill mysteriously on the counter here, the desk in the studio? Now, I can just see Murphy Show, and I love Matt Murphy, saying, I'm going to put a $1 bill right here in the studio, and I'm just going to see if Mandis pockets it, right?
Yeah.
I can see Matt doing that because that's what Matt Murphy does. And so I took a photo of it, and I posted it on my Facebook page because what I'm curious about is if Matt maybe said anything yesterday during his
you didn't listen to
program.
his show, so you don't know.
I don't know.
In your
If he's
defense,
setting
Dan,
you up.
Dan, I'm going to defend you. I would, if it was Murphy doing that to me, I wouldn't trust either. Like, I'm 100% on your side on this.
That's exactly right.
He's a shady guy.
Because something happened to me, thanks to Matt Murphy, a month or so ago. We have a nice, good coffee here at the station. So I had my own little coffee mate, just my own, because I didn't like what we had options. So I put my name on it, make sure no one, because it's small. And I see written when I come back to work, I spit in this, heart Matt Murphy. And now I was like, did he actually spit in this? So I actually opened up the top and looked and see if there was something I could see.
You can't see spit.
No, this is not true. If was spit and because it was not a liquid, it was it was just the
Oh, okay.
it was just
the
it was
powdered
the powder,
creamer?
yeah. So you could see if you would see a bulk up of you
Right.
would see it all bulked
Yeah.
up. Before I didn't see anything, so I knew he was messing with me, but there was a part of me that's did he actually spit in this?
So, number one, I don't believe that Matt Murphy would ever do something like that.
No, but
Matt is
again-
all about the mind game.
Exactly. It's
So-
not out of the possibility. It's low, but not zero.
It's exactly right.
And
so
we don't know if they're we almost didn't touch the bill. I didn't want to touch it just in case.
just funny. Joseph Hines says, "Shake it, Dan. I'll give you another $1."
Jesus.
They're talking about strip
Good
clubs,
Lord.
right?
Wow.
That's a strip club reference.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
How would you know that, Dan?
Listen, I happen to have it on good authority
Yeah.
that $1 will get
Oh.
you absolutely nothing in a strip club.
It looks like Cameron was on for Matt yesterday.
Cameron was on for Matt.
Oh.
So I'm not sure where that
Where was
dollar-
Murphy Show yesterday?
Was he at the
Oh, was he at that thing? Okay.
He might have been at that I don't know, is it a convention?
It's a
Is that what we
Reagan.
call
It's
it?
no, it's the Reagan.
It's the Reagan dinner?
Yeah, the Reagan dinner. So interesting. Okay, well then apparently
Cameron's got some explaining to do. I love we just went straight to blaming Matt.
Well,
to be fair, yes.
it's a very Murphian thing
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
a mind game play for sure.
So there you go. All
Somebody
right.
said probably has itching powder on it.
Yeah.
That's a very Brady Bunch thing to do.
So then maybe I should.
Someone-
so then maybe I should
Yeah.
pocket the $1.
Someone said pocket it and leave a quarter.
I could pocket it and leave the quarter.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Someone pockets a quarter, leave a penny.
Or, as the honest sort that I am, I'll just assume that somebody accidentally left the $1 and they may come looking for said $1 and I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, because that's the make or break with people's mortgages now.
Yeah, Buck's not really going to
Oh, whatever.
buy you anything.
But no, it's honestly a good question now. What's the story behind this?
Mm-hmm.
We need answers.
That's exactly right.
So I want to ask you guys something. Have you ever gone out to your car and seen something on your car windshield that made you go, that's weird?
You mean besides a ticket?
Like someone
Besides a
puts
ticket, yes.
puts a menu for the restaurant or something on
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So, no.
So there's this thing going on in Nashville, and apparently it's more than Nashville. It's in many different places. Women are going out to their car, and they're finding there's an X on their windshield done in white. Listen to this lady.
They brought me in and searched the vehicle for any bugs, any tracking devices and stuff like that, and said that there's numerous cases now that are coming up.
And they're coming up. She said that was what the police did once. She called the police to say, hey, what is this? And she said they checked everything, but they do relate it to like trafficking, like people who are trying to take women.
So why would they put
trafficking.
an X on their car? Like that?
Yeah. So there's another woman. I checked on TikTok because TikTok is a great source of, I guess if there's an event that happens, you can ask other people if something's going on. So this lady also said she came out of her car, and I think she's in Dallas, and this was kind of the same thing that was happening to her.
Good morning, TikTok. So I was on my way to work, and I noticed something really weird. I'm gonna show you. This is my car, and I have never seen this mark in my car, and it was random. So I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
I'm taking it off, but if any of you have any information in regards to like car taggings, because I know that in human trafficking, people use tags and like different colors mean something different. So please, please, please let me know.
Yeah. So she had a pink check mark. This first woman who was here in Nashville said she had a white X, and that's what's happening a lot around here is white X's on car windows. Anybody know what that means? Is that significant in some way? Is that like a tagging that people should be aware
I've
of?
never heard of that.
It does. Here's why it does sound suspicious, and I would be freaked out too. But if you are a human trafficker and you're planning on kidnapping a woman, then why would you give them an alert and put an X on their car as opposed to just taking advantage of the element of surprise and grabbing said person?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That
That's a
doesn't
good
make
point.
any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's not like they're Teslas.
Well, it could be, right, which are being targeted in large numbers. Well, it could be something like, somebody else comes along with a van, and sees this X and says, all right, I'll wait for this person to come out. And
Maybe. That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know. That's my conspiratorial mind at work. Like, I wonder what that is.
You know what, Joan? People absolutely love your conspiratorial mind.
You think?
So some of the good folks over on the YouTube chat.
And I'm watching them this morning. I never get to read them, their comments.
Yes.
They're really incredible.
Oh, I told you. The people on YouTube chat, they've got their own thing going on over there. So one of them wants to start Jimmy John's for Joan Jones. Jimmy John's for Joan Jones. Because they believe that you are the unsung hero of WTN and particularly Nashville's morning news. And so they want to, our friend Lindsay wants to show you appreciation by, ordering Jimmy John's for Joan Jones. So I think that is certainly appropriate. Now, I'm not going to do it myself. However, we do have $1 in the studio that we could donate.
To be fair, Dan, this show is called Nashville Morning News starring Joan Jones.
Well, yes, they're working on the official.
That's the official name.
The official name change. So I guess the question is, if Jimmy John's mysteriously shows up at the radio station for Joan Jones, would you eat said Jimmy John's?
You bet I would.
Okay, so what is your Jimmy John's order of choice? Because you're here till what time? You're here till like 11?
Yeah, right around 11.
11, okay. So what is your sandwich of choice?
They have this new roast beef and cheddar with horseradish sauce.
Horseradish?
And with horseradish sauce, crispy fried onions.
Ooh, I love onions.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Dan,
My mouth is watering.
Dan does not like onions. I forgot about this.
That's okay.
It's
Dan's
not about
gonna
me.
eat it.
I know, but
you
kind of turned a little bit when you heard the onions.
Well, I started it turning with the horseradish, but whatever. Moving right along.
Horseradish is good with French dips.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. Horseradish makes my stomach curl, but it's not about me. So, Joan, it sounds like we have an accord. Jimmy John's for Joan Jones. If
That's
Jimmy John's
too funny.
shows up today, you can find our address on the website, 10 Music Circle East, but whatever. And there you go. So if you want to order Joan Jones some food.
That's so funny.
Now, most people are saying on the YouTube chat, And certainly in the super text, every day is Joan Jones Day.
Yeah, every day is Joan Jones Appreciation Day.
Can I just ask, when is Dan Mattis Appreciation Day? That's what I want to know.
Dan,
see, I will go ahead and.
Are you ready for the responses on
no,
that?
I'm not actually. Do you know what? I think that every morning, KGB and Joan and WTN Nation, every morning, I really try to sit down in this chair. And the cameras go on and the microphone goes on. And I really do try to make a splash is what I try.
We're going to overuse that today, are we?
Absolutely.
That's the theme for today. That splash.
Can I just say I just noticed something?
What?
Look behind you at the screen. Has that been that world been circling there before?
Yeah, yeah.
Has it really?
They have a number of different, for you folks listening on the radio, please forgive us, but they have different backgrounds for the YouTube thing.
There's a globe in another one, but it's really in the part in the background because it's gray, so you can't really see it. But this one is like, I like it because it looks like it's the morning.
It's orange, which means Tennessee Volunteers.
Which means global warming.
No.
I'm just messing with you.
Gosh.
Anyway, whatever. So, real quick. So we teased the story about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And he was on with Sean Hannity, and he was asked because, it is Splash Day on Nashville's Morning News. And so he was on with Sean Hannity. Elon Musk was. Great interview, by the way. And Hannity said, okay, so some people are saying that there was no discussion between you and the Biden administration about rescuing those astronauts. Some people are saying that never happened. Elon Musk has been saying that it did happen. So Hannity asked him the question again, can you confirm that you offered your services to go rescue them after NASA failed, and you were rebuffed because they did not want to give Donald Trump a win. All right, so this is what Elon said.
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most. And we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
All right, so there you go.
That's a fact, Jack.
That is a fact, Jack. By the way, 5581, Damn Nandis Appreciation Day is every Saturday.
Okay, one person said Damn Nandis Appreciation Day is February 29th, and that made me giggle.
All right, that is funny.
Yeah.
If you don't understand
get
it, there
one,
is
it's
no
just
February 29th.
Yeah.
Well, that's leap year, right?
Yeah.
Is that leap year?
Every
Okay.
4 years, right?
Whatever. You know what? Not every host is going to bring.
No, we definitely.
Not every host is going to bring sound effects to the show today. Not every host is going to do that. I will, because I try to bring. See, the big wigs are in town, so I'm trying to make that splash.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to
Dan,
do.
we've come sitting here with you. You got to stop with the splashes.
I think that
that's the meeting.
You're going to make a big splash on the
meeting?
big wigs.
Is that what I'm going to do?
Yeah, there you go.
They're like, we were going to give you a raise, but this splashes, man.
Yeah, that's all fine. You know what? I'm just not appreciated by KGB. I think that's what
I said. I had your back with Matt Murphy.
Yeah.
I was going to protect you from that dollar.
You protect me from a dollar. Thank you.
I would pocket that in self-defense for you.
Knock yourself out. That's what you want to do. If you want to be the guy to take the dollar, there's something going on, Joan. I don't know what it is.
There's definitely something. Did you touch it yet?
I did touch
Are
it.
you itchy?
I did touch it.
You're not itchy.
It's not connected to anything, so we're safe there.
Right. There's.
Because I thought that maybe there might be something written on it on the back.
Yeah.
But you know what that is? Maybe that is somebody's contribution to Damn Nandis Appreciation Day.
Which is
maybe
Saturday.
Which is or February 29th. All right, we got to go. 5:51. Joan, what's up?
So when you notice this today.
Daytime wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, I just know that there's a thunderstorm right behind it. We'll tell you what to expect from our storms today. Coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. All right. We shanked the last segment, Joan, because we said that we would talk about the JFK file dump. We are going to do that at the 6 o'clock hour at about 6:06 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's in it? What's not in it? The reaction, all of that stuff coming up after the news at 6. And so we'll talk about that then. But we're going to talk about another Kennedy here, another John Kennedy here, and that is Senator John Kennedy out of Louisiana. Now, we've all been talking about the defunding of NPR. Should the taxpayers of America be funding NPR when clearly they are biased? So John Kennedy took to the Senate floor, I believe this was yesterday, and he compiled a few headlines from NPR.
This is the kind of reporting that's being done today with your tax money on NPR, National Public Radio.
Boo.
And PBS. I'll start with NPR. Here's one of the headlines at NPR. Arguments that trans athletes have an unfair advantage lack evidence to support.
Wow.
That's opinion journalism.
Yep.
Here's another headline from NPR. A brief history of how racism shaped interstate highways. I did not know our interstate highways were racist. I thought they were concrete. But not according to NPR. Here's another NPR headline. Trump embodies nearly every aspect of a racist, Arthur says.
I mean, all of that is clearly, as the senator from Louisiana said, a lot of that is opinion journalism. A lot of that also is just plain false. And so for the American taxpayers to continue to fund NPR does not make any sense. And quite frankly, they don't need our money. They will tell you that all the time. NPR will say, well, the American taxpayers, I mean, very little of what we actually make is through taxpayer funds. They have the ability to collect donations and so forth. So I don't know if anything comes from DOJ, and I hope that we do see a lot of results coming from the investigations of DOJ. I hope that we stop funding NPR because it does not make any sense for NPR to continue to be funded with taxpayer dollars, especially when it comes to, and we've had stories for years about the bias over at NPR, especially when you look at the fact that there are, I mean, millions and millions and millions of Americans who disagree vehemently with the premise of NPR's overall reporting, which is that they are anti-Donald Trump, fused and inspired by Trump derangement syndrome. It is 6 o'clock, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Drivers want to be aware of a stalled out car on 40 westbound this morning. It's at the 2nd Avenue exit. That's exit 210C, and it's causing the left lane to be blocked off there. Careful as you go around that area this morning. Be weather aware today, too. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro telling us, yes, we are getting some thunderstorms and rain tonight.
But not those slow-moving downpours like this past weekend. So we're not really expecting any flooding, though there could be some ponding. 1 out of 5 is that severe threat across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Hail and tornado threats are not a big concern for us heading through today.
And we'll have more for you in the forecast right after the news. On a final reading, Metro Council gave the okay for police to use private cameras to help investigate crimes. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac, though, tells us this time there are some guardrails.
Here's what's different about this updated plan. Private cameras can only be accessed in emergencies, and officers have to log every time they pull up footage. Private areas and inside of homes will not be accessible, and apartment buildings can only link cameras in parking lots.
The plan needs to be funded now, and that's what's next for this plan. One concession from President Trump's lengthy phone call with Vladimir Putin yesterday was an agreement from the Russian leader to pause striking electrical and nuclear facilities in Ukraine. ABC's James Longman in Kyiv has reaction to that news.
I asked President Zelensky if he'd match Putin's pledge to stop striking energy targets.
Will you make a commitment to stop hitting energy infrastructure in Russia? And based on what you've heard today, do you think Trump is in control of the situation, or is Vladimir Putin the one calling the shots?
It's hard to tell, Zelensky tells me, saying he supports a plan to stop hitting Russian energy infrastructure, but wants to speak directly with President Trump to understand the details, adding, a negotiation without Ukraine is not a negotiation.
Hey, there's been another act of violence against Tesla vehicles, this time in Las Vegas. Multiple incidents have been reported nationally as Elon Musk is working with the Trump administration.
Being investigated by the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force at around 2:44 in the morning, somebody dressed all in black fired a gun into Tesla vehicles parked at a Las Vegas Tesla collision center and then set 2 Teslas on fire using Molotov cocktails. The word resist was written on the building. FBI Special Agent in charge, Spencer Evans, says it may have been terrorism.
It certainly has some of the hallmarks that we might think, the writing on the wall, a potential, political agenda. There's an act of violence.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
Market numbers now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. We had some losses on the market yesterday. Today, we've got the futures on the plus side. Dow is up 31 points. NASDAQ futures gaining 55. S&P futures, they're up by 12. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Got a stalled out car causing some problems on westbound 40 this morning. It's at the exit for 2nd Avenue. That's 210C, and the left lane is blocked by that stalled out vehicle. Also, Nashboro Village, Bell Road at Smith Springs Road. There's a crash to maneuver around there this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. It is Wednesday, March 19th of 2025. And, man, there is some amazing, amazing stories going on this morning.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting. From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
That, of course, Walter Cronkite, CBS, breaking the news to the world that JFK had been assassinated November 22nd of 1963, 61 years ago. And since then, as you know, all kinds of theories have been out there. What government was responsible? Was it our own government? Was it the CIA? Was it the FBI? Was it the mafia? How many shooters were there? And everybody wants to know. It's a great American mystery. And everybody thinks that they know what happened. But nobody really does. We, of course, had the Warren Commission, who said that there was only one shooter. Nobody, of course, bought that one. And that Jack Ruby killed Oswald and that he was acting alone. And over the years, we've seen document dumps of, various sizes from, various commissions or presidents or whatever it is. It's been, 61 years. And Donald Trump said on the campaign trail that, yes, he wanted to do this. He was going to be the one to establish an independent commission to get these documents released, and this is a promise that he made.
And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
And as you heard, the crowd went wild. Now, here's the deal. 2 months after making that promise, we have thousands of documents that were dumped yesterday. Now, to no one's surprise, no one is happy because you've got a lot of people that are familiar with the story of JFK and the assassination and all the different conspiracy theories. I don't even like to call them conspiracy theories because oftentimes conspiracy theories turn out to be true. So I'm going to call them theories. But this is what the Daily Mail and a few other outlets have said now that the documents have been released. I think they were released right about 6 or 7 o'clock our time. So I don't know if anybody has talked about this on WTN locally. But this is what the Daily Mail says. The trove included typewritten reports and handwritten notes spanning decades, including details of a top CIA agent who claimed the deep state was responsible for the death of JFK. Lee Harvey Oswald being a poor shot, and that Secret Service had been warned that Kennedy would be killed in August, 3 months before his assassination. They say the rollout of the files stunned Trump's national security team, who spent 24 hours racing to assess security hazards ahead of the publication. So when the files were released at around 7 o'clock, it started, they say, widespread backlash from liberals claiming it was just a repeat of a similar drop by Joe Biden years ago, to MAGA fans angered that the pages still contained redactions and left a lot of questions, leading experts to describe the files as impenetrable. So leading up to all of this, Trump gave us indications, of course, that he wanted a new dump, not a warmed-over version of what's already been released, and he was very specific. The president did not want any redactions.
So people have been waiting for decades for this, and I've instructed my people that are responsible, lots of different people, put together by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's going to be released tomorrow. A tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're going to redact anything. I said, just don't redact. You can't redact.
Well, there were redactions. Experts have warned as they sift through the information that they do not expect the release to overturn the long understanding of what happened or any earth-shattering reveals. So basically what they're saying, in a nutshell, and I'm going to give you some of the highlights, but basically in a nutshell, what they're saying is that nothing's going to change. If you believe that there were two shooters, there's nothing here to change your mind. If you believe that the FBI or the CIA were involved in this, there's nothing here that is going to change your mind. And if you believe the Warren Commission, well, then you're going to read all this and you're probably just going to shrug your shoulders. Perhaps. But there's like 80,000 documents, and there is a lot of this stuff that has been redacted. And so there's a lot that folks are sifting through. One document addressed a story that claimed a small clique within the FBI, I should say within the CIA, was responsible for the assassination. This is how they report it. The day after the assassination, one agent, a guy by the name of Gary Underhill, left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he shows up at the home of a friend in New Jersey. He was very agitated, they say. And this was, by the way, part of an article that was written a few years after the assassination. They say a small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination. He confided in his friend, and he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it a suicide. The passage in this article continued. Here's the deal. That's been out for a long time. Another document shows that Lee Harvey Oswald proved to be, they say, a poor shot when he was in the USSR. Now, if that is the case, the KGB, of course, was watching Lee Harvey Oswald, and if they watched him at the shooting range and he was a poor shot, well, then how in the world could he have been able to shoot President Kennedy from that vantage point in a moving car? That, of course, means there's multiple shooters. But again, that information has been out for a long time. Another guy named Sergei Zernoa was questioned in 1978, and he told the British embassy that Lee Harvey Oswald, you know, the same guy that was a poor shot, was planning on killing JFK. That was in July of 1963. Of course, as we know, 4 months later, the president would be killed by, some say, Lee Harvey Oswald. He says that he warned the American vice consul at the time, a guy by the name of Tom Blackshear. And so throughout, because people are putting their own spin on this dump, they say there are hints of a second shooter throughout these documents based on inconsistencies in the official narrative, but no smoking gun, so to speak. Some documents hint at connections between Lee Harvey Oswald, the CIA, and organized crime. They say Jack Ruby, who killed Oswald, of course, again, more hints of a second shooter, but at the same time, you have people tweeting out things like an FBI informant reported that Jack Ruby said that he had to kill Lee Harvey Oswald and hinted at a bigger reason behind his actions. The document states that the informant, who had known Ruby for years, said Ruby was worried about his family's safety and suggested he was under pressure to act. Remember, he had connections to illegal gambling and organized crime. And so if you follow the bouncing ball, what they will tell you, they're intimating, is that he owed the mob a lot of money, Jack Ruby did, and they said, here's how you can make it right. How you can make it right is by taking out Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, whether or not that is true or not is anybody's guess. So there's a lot here. We've got a lot more on this. It is 6:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. It's 6:16. As far as your weather, a high today of 69, high winds, rain, and storms. later tonight. Your complete forecast is coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, have you seen any reaction to the big document dump of JFK? I know that KGB and I were talking about this off the air, and one of the things that people are saying is that a lot of this stuff is simply rehashed. By the way, one more point here. They also say there are hints of a cover-up because of what they say are investigative irregularities. So when you say investigative irregularities, I just don't think anybody's going to buy this.
Well, when I actually looked at them this morning, and I'm like, I can't read half this. Like, it's illegible, and that's a big problem.
So you have a lot of these documents that are badly written. It's like poor penmanship.
Yeah, it's like a doctor's note.
It is. It's like a doctor's note. That's number one. Number two, a lot of these documents are faded. And so you have that problem as well. Now, what does it not include? There really is no smoking gun. So I grokked it. You guys know what grokked it means? So you go to X and you ask Grok a question. So here's what Grok says. It's AI. Notably, this release does not include all promised materials. For instance, it excludes over 500 IRS records, thousands of newly discovered FBI files, approximately 2,400 documents found in February of 2025, and certain sensitive CIA records, such as those related to Officer George Joanides, whose files have, and I may have shanked his name, whose files have historically been heavily redacted. They say critics argue that significant gaps do persist, suggesting the most explosive revelations might still be withheld. So I knew this was going to happen. I knew that nobody was going to be happy with these documents being released because there's a lot of stuff that still isn't released or forthcoming. You do still have redactions. There still are a lot of questions being asked. You know what it feels like? Joan, you ever see the movies American Treasure?
No.
American Treasure, you've got Nicolas Cage, and they're always looking for, in essence, buried treasure.
National Treasure.
That's what I meant, National Treasure. That's what I said.
I knew that.
So this is like National Treasure.
Yeah.
Where there's always another clue, but it just doesn't tell you what the truth is, right?
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. There's always, because remember, Biden released a bunch of JFK files back a couple of years ago, right? And so you've got people saying, well, this is just what Biden released.
Yeah.
So nobody's happy with the JFK release dump.
Some of these are also like photocopied. So again, it just shows that it's hard to read. I would say it's hard to read probably like 50% of this. And that's the biggest.
Some of them are handwritten notes too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's wonderful that you could read the actual handwritten notes, but they're so old that they it's hard to read them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And who is still alive that has dealt with this? I mean, this was 61 years ago.
And wasn't it the driver, JFK's driver, that just passed away?
Did he?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think here's what's going on with these document dumps. And I said the same thing with the Epstein files, because the Epstein files were a bust, and they're still working on all that.
Yeah.
And now the JFK files, which, again, nobody is happy with. I think Donald Trump means well. I really do. I believe that the president means well with all of these dumps and all of this transparency. But I think that they're consistently looking for things that don't exist. These documents have either been destroyed, or the CIA and the FBI, the law enforcement agencies, they keep redacting it. And there's probably a good reason why they're redacting it. So I don't really know. And Trump isn't deep diving into these documents, right? Whether it is Epstein or whether it's JFK or RFK for that matter. He doesn't know what is warmed over and what's not. He's just assuming we need to release these files because we need transparency. And for Donald Trump, I think he means well. I just think that there's a lot out there, and there's still a lot of questions that with this document dump, people are still trying to figure out and go through all of these because, again, there's apparently like 80,000 of them. but you're not going to make the theorists or the conspiracy theorists happy, because unless there's a document that specifically says that there were two shooters and the second shooter was employed by the FBI or the CIA, nobody is going to be happy. By the way, there's one document, one big, massive smoking gun document that everybody is looking for. I'll tell you what that document is coming up. It is 6:22 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones has the news at 6:30. Joan.
We do have thunderstorms headed our way today, but are they going to be severe? We've got the answer for you with Stefano DiPietro coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What happened to my music?
Hey, it's Dan Mandis. Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Now with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. That's right. Now, Xfinity has built a network that is 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. You can get the same reliable network in the places you need it most, like at the coffee shop, in line at the grocery store, maybe at the game, all to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or you're working from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile together. And right now, a great deal. Through April 17th, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $30 a month for 1 year with no annual contract, and save $1,000 in that first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask us how to get a free premium 5G phone. Find them online, Xfinity.com. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet Plus, one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 Plus, one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary. .625 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Now listen, that pre-summer stress is starting to kick in, friends. How confident are you that you're ready to slide into that bathing suit? Now listen, if you need help, like so many of us do, check out my friends at Contours of Cool Springs. They are experts in red light technology. Now, they can help you lose 2 inches of fat in that first session, or it is absolutely free. Now, I did it a few weeks ago. My pants are noticeably looser, and if not, if you feel like it's not working for you, then that first session is absolutely free. Now, you know that Contours in Cool Springs is the only place in Tennessee with this cutting-edge red light technology. Now, folks do come from everywhere because what Contours does is really unique and effective. See how it works at their website, ContoursLLC.com. Now, right now, Got to call this phone number, 615-236-9960. Contours is offering you a $99 belly buster special to the first 10 callers. This is normally a $600 value. Call them right now. First 10 callers, you get it for $99 instead of $600. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. ContoursLLC.com. $6:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Okay, so what is the one document from the JFK dump that everybody's looking for? Well, Anna Paulina Luna, who was part of the declassification process, said there is one particular document that she and a lot of other folks are looking for. This is what she says. She posted on X. The file I am particularly interested in is a CIA IG report from whistleblowers alleging that the CIA hid information from Congress regarding the JFK assassination as it implicated them, the CIA, shortly after the assassination. She says we were given this as a tip, and there's actually a document we are currently trying to track down. Do you know, Joan, who I think probably has a really intriguing opinion on all this?
Who?
Brian Wilson.
Oh, he probably does.
It's Wilson Wednesdays,
Yeah.
or as Matt Murphy wants to call it, the drive-by with Brian Wilson. Either way, it is coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories and with a driver alert this morning because there's a crash on 24. It's at the on-ramp, the westbound on-ramp from Murfreesboro Pike exit 52. The on-ramp shoulder is blocked off. It's causing some delays that could back up onto 24. Just be careful this morning as you travel. In the news, it was Putin yesterday and Zelensky today.
Сьогодні у мене буде контакт з президентом Трампом.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at a news conference just this morning saying he has a scheduled phone conversation with President Trump today after Trump's phone call with Vladimir Putin yesterday. Putin agreed to stop attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure for 30 days. A Madison woman tells Channel 4 that she called police when she noticed a white X had been painted on her windshield recently.
I noticed it before I even got to press the button.
Before she could even unlock her car, Natasha Reynolds says she spotted this white X drawn on her back windshield.
I took a picture of it, I tried to scrape it off. It didn't come off.
She says panic shot through her body, so she posted the picture to the Nashville girls group and called 911.
And there are other girls who have had similar things happen.
And that's Channel 4's Sharon Dinkwa reporting. Metro Police say they're looking into what those markers mean. Well, you'll notice some wind kicking up this afternoon, and that should signal that there's some thunderstorms coming for later today and into the nighttime hours. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us that these storms could become severe, but there's little to no chance that we'll see tornadoes from these storms. Keep it here for the full forecast. It's coming up here right after the news. That's the latest. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. Super Talk 99.7 WTN at 6:32. Dan Matt is here with a question for you, my friends. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask because, a lot of these insurance companies, they refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and this means that the insurance company is depreciating how much they pay for your roof claim. You got an older roof, they're going to pay you less, and that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have a 20-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. Gotta love King & Associates Insurance. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-329-8121. 615-329-8121. Get your royal review. tkinginsurance.com. Dan Matt is here, 635 Nashville's Morning News. Sell your home with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You can receive the strongest cash offer in the industry, and you're going to save time and a whole bunch of money. Now, with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can skip the hassle of getting your home ready to sell, receive an all-cash offer, and close in as little as 21 days. There's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. Now, they are the most experienced real estate team in the industry, and you can trust my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Again, that's part of the guaranteed offer. Find out what your guaranteed cash offer would be. There's no obligation. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. Online, markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Got a crash on 24, the westbound on-ramp from Murfreesboro Pike this morning. That takes up the right lane. Make that the right shoulder. It's blocked off. And then a crash, too, in Nashboro Village, Bell Road at Smith Springs Road. That's causing some delays as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
636 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I heard something intriguing during Joan's newscast.
Uh-oh. What'd you hear?
Joan, can you play that audio? of Zelensky. He's I don't know. He's
going on.
Yeah, go and play that.
Сьогодні у мене буде контакт з президентом Трампом.
You know, it's interesting. Even in Ukrainian, he still sounds like he's spewing BS. You can hear it even in whatever language he's speaking.
Yeah.
That's all I got on that. Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome.
The decline of the Democrats. I loved what Laura Ingraham did last night. She talked about, big headline, the party's over for the Democrats. Double entendre, of course. But the decline of the Democrat Party, it does seem to be in full display. Now, coming up at 7:06, I've got Brian Wilson. We're going to talk about just this because he is seeing, I'm just going to give you a tease about what Brian's going to say. He has seen parties in peril before. I'm going to ask Brian if he's ever seen it this bad before. Now, yesterday, Chuck Schumer on The View. Now, you would have thought that he would have learned from Kamala Harris's complete and utter meltdown on The View when she was asked, is there anything you would do different from Joe Biden? And she said, I can't think of one. Completely destroyed her campaign. I mean, that was one of many things that destroyed her campaign. She was a flawed candidate. So Chuck Schumer goes on The View with all of this controversy about the continuing resolution. And he gave the campaigns for the Republicans in the midterm elections a great talking point.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay.
So, that music, they were trying to get Schumer to shut up because they had to go to break. And it is very cringe, and if you've seen the original video, he stumbled through it. And so I wanted to clean it up because I wanted to make sure that you got the point. The point is that he's actually right. We did make our money. We did build our wealth, and we're just trying to pay our rent. We're just trying to buy food for our kids. We're trying to save for our retirement. So, yeah, I will fully admit, I absolutely want to keep more of my money. But you heard Chuck Schumer there in that audio where he's basically mocking the American people, mocking you, mocking me. People who are just trying to make it day to day. And that's his attitude. Very cringy, and yes, indeed, very ad-worthy.
I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes.
Thank you, Chuck.
That's just amazing to hear him say something like that.
Isn't it incredible?
I was watching, what was that, on The View?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that. Not that I was watching The View, but I was watching clips of it. And I thought, are you kidding me? Like, we're not supposed to want to keep the money that we make?
That's the attitude. But see, isn't that the very sanctimonious, arrogant attitude of the swamp? Where they're like, this is our money, not your money. How dare you want to keep more of your money? And so to me, number one, again, I appreciate Chuck Schumer giving us this very ad-worthy comment for the midterm elections. But you know, the notion of this swampy Democrat who has been a leading power figure in Washington, D.C. for decades, mocking Americans who want to keep their money instead of our government wasting it on Sesame Street in Iraq or funding terrorists in Syria, which is exactly what he advocates and the Democrats have been advocating for. Because remember what I always say. It's not only how much we spent, but also what that money was spent on.
I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers?
All right, so think about what Donald Trump campaigned on. This is why I believe that this is an absolutely lethal mistake by Chuck Schumer. I like to call him Up Chuck.
Very nicely done.
Thank you. Think about Trump's campaign. Crazy government spending under Joe Biden. No tax on tips. No taxes on Social Security. no taxes on overtime. And Donald Trump wants to extend the Trump tax cuts, which, by the way, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, very popular. And yes, regardless of what you may have heard, DOGE is also very popular because of what they're finding, especially among conservatives. So to me, Chuck Schumer saying what he has said really is a rallying cry for the Republicans. I mean, to me, I don't know about you folks, but to me, this is a rallying cry just as much as Hillary Clinton calling us deplorables or Biden calling us a threat to democracy and the rest of that nonsense. And so, yes, you are watching the Democrats' disarray, full display. Now, Chuck Schumer actually did say one thing that made sense. Here's what he said that actually made sense and did resonate with yours truly.
This is a different, horrible kettle of fish. They hate the government.
I do hate the government. I do hate the government. Because I don't believe that the government is for the people. I believe the government is for the government. I believe the government feels like its sole purpose is to protect itself. You know what I see the government as? Not right now, but because Trump is in charge and he is doing his darndest to cut the bureaucracy. But the government is like, you remember the old movie, The Blob? Remember that? Where the blob would just get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what the government is. And so when Chuck Schumer says...
This is a different, horrible kettle of fish. They hate the government.
All right. Fact check true. You know what? You want to change the Daily Dan poll to ask people, do you hate the government, yes or no? Is Chuck Schumer right? Is Chuck Schumer right? Do you hate the government?
You want another 100% poll here?
You know what? I'm curious as to what people would say. Let's do it. Now, earlier we had a poll, because the poll is ever-changing these days. Earlier we had a poll, and the poll was, do you believe that the Democrat Party will ever be able to reinvent itself? Will the Democrat Party be able to survive the Civil War? And I think the last time we checked, it was like, you know, what is it, KGB? What are the numbers real quick?
Final poll numbers were 58% no to 41% yes. Will the Democrats recover from their infighting?
All right, so there you go. So a lot of people saying yes and a lot of people saying no. Personally, and I did mention this before, I believe that they're going to need some sort of a figure outside of politics that will be able to come in and shake up the party, just like Donald Trump did. People are talking about Stephen A. Smith. We've got a lot more straight ahead. 6:45 on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather today, a high of 69, high winds. We've got rain and storms later tonight. Your complete forecast coming up at 7 o'clock on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So this was a big moment yesterday. A lot of big moments in a number of different news stories yesterday. But for Schumer to go on The View and mock people for being greedy, clearly not a good look as people are continuing to struggle with the price of stuff. So since all of this has happened, a lot of questions have been asked specifically about his future in the party, Chuck Schumer's. Now, remember what this is all about. This is all about the continuing resolution that was passed in the House. It goes to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer and a handful of senators voted with the Republicans to pass that continuing resolution, which was considered a victory for Donald Trump. Schumer has come out and he said, we don't want, with the midterm elections down the horizon a bit, we don't want a government shutdown to have to contend with. We don't want to be blamed for that. And so now you've got a lot of folks, especially the younger people in the party, that are saying that he needs to step down. A lot of questions being asked, and here's just a few sound bites.
You were crucial in getting President Joe Biden to step down. Do you think it's time for you to do the same?
Let me say this. There is spirited disagreements on which was the right vote. But as I said, I think we have mutual respect in our caucus, and we are all united.
Can I tell you, I don't believe they respect Chuck Schumer. And I will tell you that they're not united. The Democrat Party is far from united. This is MSNBC's Simone Sanders.
I'm about to change my registration to independent. The Democratic Tea Party was born the same day that Chuck Schumer took to that podium to read that very well-crafted statement that told us he folded like a paper napkin.
All right, so that doesn't sound real respectful of Chuck Schumer. What about Jasmine Crockett? She seems to be leading the revolt against Chuck Schumer.
I think Senate Democrats have to sit down and take a look and decide whether or not Chuck Schumer is the one to lead in this moment. I definitely think that younger, fresher leadership may be something that many of us, not just depending on what part of the spectrum you're on, but many Americans may be looking for.
Younger and fresher is what she said. Jasmine Crockett, younger and fresher. People are saying, because AOC has been brutal against Chuck Schumer as well. And as I mentioned yesterday, people are actually out there saying that AOC may actually challenge Chuck Schumer for his Senate seat. That would be fascinating to watch. And then there was this moment when Schumer, again, was on The View with Sunny Hostin, where she actually told him how she felt. And she didn't really seem to pull any punches.
Gives me no pleasure to say this to you because we are friends, but I think you caved. I think you and 9 other Democrats caved. I don't think you showed the fight that this party needs right now because you're playing with by a rule book where the other party has thrown that rule book away.
Now, you know that Chuck Schumer, the same guy that has said that there's a lot of respect back and forth and so on and so forth, and the party is united. Chuck Schumer had to cancel his book tour over security concerns. That's what Chuck Schumer had to do, because I guess he wrote a book.
So he came on The View to get beat up by a couple of women?
Apparently he sure did.
Yeah.
He absolutely did.
The overnight show, Red Eye Radio, was saying that she was reading that statement from a piece of paper.
She did. She had like this cue card, and I'm not entirely certain why she needed a cue card for that, for telling him how she felt. But that didn't make any sense to me, why she was actually reading it the way that she did.
That loses merit in my mind.
Maybe she was given the words that she had to use to limit her criticism of him.
She wanted to be careful, is what you're saying, Joan.
Yeah. And, they've had issues with her saying things and speaking out and having lawyers tell her that she has to make mea culpa. So
yes.
I think perhaps she got herself in too much trouble in the past.
Now, here's the deal. New polling by NBC and CNN show the Democrats are at their lowest approval rating ever recorded.
Oh, my goodness.
27 and 29% respectively. They say the numbers show that Democrats disapprove of their own leadership. Hakeem Jeffries is not setting the world on fire. And there's a lot of people who don't like Hakeem Jeffries. Clearly, a lot of people don't like Chuck Schumer. One thing for all of us to watch is, will they have that phoenix rise from the ashes? Will this party that seems hell-bent on destruction and bad policy and TDS figure out a path forward for the midterm elections and for the next presidential run? They don't have a lot of time, Joan. They've got to come out with primaries if they're going to try to primary some of these folks that they feel are not strong enough against Donald Trump. Then they got to figure out who will run against, say, for example, a Chuck Schumer. But definitely this is something to watch for. And I do believe it is my contention that they do need some sort of a transformative figure. Donald Trump was transformative with the Republicans and the Conservative Party. Donald Trump was transformative. He was sort of politics adjacent. And then he jumped in. He jumped into the political ring. Stephen A. Smith is politics adjacent. Will he jump in? Most people say no. He just signed I guess it's a 5-year, $100 million contract with ESPN. So, I think a lot of people like to be able to talk about politics without actually having to be accountable for decisions. That might be Stephen A. Smith. But There's got to be somebody out there that the Democrats can use to be able to usher in a brand new Democrat Party. Now, me, as a staunch conservative, I keep saying, stick with Chuck Schumer and stick with Hakeem Jeffries and watch as the party continues in absolute disarray. So the question is the party over? Referring to the Democrats. We'll ask Brian Wilson at 7:06, and right now we've got the news at 7 with Joan Jones. Joan, what is coming up?
So were you hoping to get a break at the grocery store? Well, the Tennessee legislature has some bad news for you. That story and more, including a forecast with some severe storms coming today. That's all up ahead here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. At 6:52, Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. Now, this is my window company. They've put not one, not two, not three, 4 windows in my home in the last couple of years. I suspect they're going to be back because they do great work at Window Nation. So if this is the year that you upgrade your home, remember, we're coming into spring. Start with a call to Window Nation. They're offering you a full 60% off all window styles, and you pay nothing for 2 full years. No payments, no interest for 24 months. Now, that is a great deal for great windows from Window Nation. They've got some of the best insulated windows that money can buy. So not only are you saving 60% on the windows, but the savings last for years to come on energy bills. You know, they've got over 20,000 5-star reviews, including mine, and Window Nation has a 96% customer satisfaction rating. Even Forbes has ranked Window Nation highest on their list of best window installers. Now, don't forget that great deal, the Dan deal, 60% off all window styles, and you pay nothing, no payments for 2 full years. Mention my name when you call them, 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. 6:57. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what's interesting? It appears that I have triggered some folks by saying that I hate the government. Of all the things that we talk about here and all the things that I say on a morningly basis, I didn't think that saying that I hate the government would cause, a meltdown among some of you folks. But you know what? I stand by what I said. But don't you know that Donald Trump is the government?
A lot of people say, I love my country, I hate the government. So there's a need to kind of separate the two.
Right. So for me, yeah, I love Donald Trump, but I don't consider him part of the bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
I love J.D. Vance. I don't consider him part of the bureaucracy. It's almost like I have a separation where you've got Trump and Vance, and they're going in there to remake and reshape the government, to cut all of that bureaucracy, to cut all of those unaccountable NGOs, to stop all of that crazed spending. And by the way, the judiciary is part of that too, with all of these judges that are stopping Donald Trump at every turn. So to me, I can't separate my appreciation for Marco Rubio, who is doing a great job as Secretary of State. And again, I do believe that J.D. Vance is doing fantastic. Scott Bessent is doing a great job as well. So I think that for me, I don't like, and I'll use the term hate. I know that it's a strong word. My mother used to say that all the time. You should use the term dislike, Danny, not hate. Hate is a very strong word.
Yeah,
that's because I have very strong feelings about the government. Now, if Trump can get in there and if he's allowed to do what he wants to do, then my feelings might change. But the bureaucracy of the government right now, it does remain. Now, Trump is doing his darndest to try to, fix the government, but these judges are blocking him at every turn. I think it was yesterday, right? A judge came and said that the gutting of USAID was unconstitutional. So here we are yet again with yet another judge that is blocking what President Trump is trying to do. So, and by the way, it is always interesting. I do believe that it's a win when you got some people that say, right on, we hate the government too. And then somebody else says, well, you're an idiot because Donald Trump is the government, right? So it's one of those, it's one of those stories where everybody's got an opinion and it's great. I've got mine, you've got yours. We're all friends, at least most of us, some of us. Anyway, my friend Brian Wilson is coming up at 7:06 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Oh, man, this is going to put a crimp in some people's commute in this morning. Murfreesboro Road, south of Leanna Drive in Lebanon, closed for an investigation of a crash that occurred there earlier this morning. Again, that's Murfreesboro Road, south of Leanna Lane, closed off right now. And we'll keep our eye on this morning. Tens of thousands of newly declassified pages related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy posted online overnight. Now, researchers say it could take a while to identify any important details.
An overnight ABC News review of the decades-old files finds many had been previously released, though formerly redacted names, addresses, and sensitive phrases have now been unmasked. A 1961 memo to President Kennedy by a trusted advisor outlining his concerns about the CIA has finally been made fully public. There are also specifics never before seen on the spycraft of 1963, with memos outlining how the CIA tapped phones in the Mexico City embassies that had been visited by Lee Harvey Oswald in the months before the assassination. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Well, sorry, Tennesseans. Legislation that could have saved money at the grocery store is losing steam in the state legislature. Here's Channel 4's Stacey Cameron.
A Senate subcommittee, they delayed a vote on a bill to exempt fruit and vegetables from sales tax because its sponsor was sick. So it'll come back next week, but it's likely not going to do too well because that same committee voted thumbs down on two bills, one Democrat, the other Republican, that would have ended the state sales tax on all groceries. So while the grocery tax bill will move on to the full Senate Ways and Means Committee, the negative referral, it means it's likely to die there for a second year in a row.
Market numbers report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Major stock averages are stumbling into midweek. The Dow Jones slipping another 260 points Tuesday and closing at 41,581. The S&P lost just over 1%. Faltering tech shares dragged the Nasdaq down by 1.7%. Investors will be watching as Fed officials wrap up their two-day meeting. The central bank is not expected to cut its benchmark interest rate, but will offer an assessment of the impact of Trump administration policies on the economy. A break in egg prices. The national wholesale price has fallen to just over $4 a dozen. That's about half of what it was at the end of February. Analysts say, though, it could be weeks before those wholesale declines filter down to consumers. Two chip makers, Taco Bell and NVIDIA, are joining forces. Yum Brands, the parent to Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut, is collaborating with NVIDIA to accelerate the use of AI in the order-taking process at its fast food restaurants. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Well, we've got stock futures looking up this morning, and the Dow futures are plus 49 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 82. S&P futures, they are plus 17 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, it is still closed off on Murfreesboro Road in Lebanon because just south of Leanna Lane because of a crash investigation. There was a crash earlier, so that could be out there for quite a bit this morning. Laverne, 24, the westbound lanes before Old Hickory Boulevard. That's a crash. And South Nashville, 24, westbound on-ramp from Murfreesboro Pike. That's a crash at the on-ramp, and the shoulder is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. How are you? Welcome on in to your Wednesday, March 19th of 2025. Very, very busy news day. Brian Wilson is standing by. And one of the first things I'm going to ask Brian about is...
Here's a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting. From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
That, of course, Brian, the great Walter Cronkite. I know some people hate Walter Cronkite. Leave all that alone. But a couple of things I noticed. Number one is, man, what a change in media from 1963 to today, where they break into One Life to Live, I think it was. And then I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour later, they came back to Walter Cronkite where he made the announcement. In other words, today's media obviously would have stuck with the assassination coverage. They break into One Life to Live. They give that real quick announcement. They go back to One Life to Live. And then, again, a little while later, they came and made that unfortunate announcement. But I mean, these days, obviously, media has changed a lot, and they would have stuck with it. So give me I know that you've been going through the entire 80,000 treasure trove of documents.
I stayed up all night going through that stuff for you there, Dan.
I'm sure you did. My headline, the headline that people seem to be talking about is that there's some redactions, even though Trump said there shouldn't be any redactions to the JFK file release. That's number one. And number two, that it doesn't really give any new perspective. And a lot of this stuff, kind of like Epstein, a lot of this stuff is just warmed over. But what say you?
Well, first of all, when you play that Walter Cronkite clip, it sends chills up my spine because I remember the day that Kennedy was shot. I remember, what happened. I was actually in the 2nd grade, and I went to a little elementary school there in Odessa, Texas, and we were just in class, doing 2nd grade stuff, and all of a sudden, over the PA system, every class had a PA system for, class announcements, that kind of stuff, and over the PA system on the radio, they started playing the CBS coverage of what was happening.
Wow.
And 2nd grade, that's a lot to absorb. All of a sudden, bam, it just pops on. There's no explanation. The teachers all walked out into the hallway looking at one another like, what's going on? And the principal came running down the hallway saying, have your children listen to this because history is being made in Dallas, Texas today. The president has been shot at, is what he said at the time. And then later, of course, as the day progressed, right there in the 2nd grade, I learned about the passing of John F. Kennedy. And it was one of those days. Anybody who was around then, if you were, if you had any, consciousness about you, you were aware of this and where you were, and you remember it distinctly. And I remember that. But you're right. Looking at these documents, I'm shocked, stunned, and amazed that there's really not that much new apparently in them. Now, we got a bunch of documents in 2017, about 3,000. We got 19,000 in 2018, and that was the first Trump dump of documents. Biden released 13,000, and now we have 80,000. Are all these documents valuable? No. Some of them are just going to be, you look at them and you can immediately tell this is not something that will bring us a new perspective on the Kennedy assassination. But there may be a lot of these documents were previously redacted, and now you got to go back and check them against the redactions to try to figure out what important has now been released that we didn't already know about. It's going to take a while, but initially, I don't see anything out there that is just like, here's the major headline of the day with regard to release of the Kennedy documents. It doesn't seem to be there.
Well, everybody is looking for a smoking gun, right? That's what everybody wants, is a document that says there were 2 shooters, the CIA was behind this, and Jack Ruby was paid off by the FBI to take out Oswald. I mean, some people, they want to see a document that says that, and I don't think that said document
Yeah,
exists.
I would be surprised if that document exists, but who knows? There may be, if you look at document A and then you compare it to document B, C, D, E, F, G, you may be able to put together some kind of narrative. I mean, I've done these document dumps. They're not pleasant. I really hate them when there's a big document dump in Washington because they'll dump, several thousand pages, in this case, 80,000 pages. And then, everybody's saying, well, what's the story? What's the story? Well, it takes a while to figure that out.
Yep. Well, and a couple of things. And here's what's interesting, Brian, is that you will have some people that will say, well, this is 80,000 pages. What are they trying to hide with this massive document dump? Then, if it's not 80,000 pages, people say, well, they barely released anything. What are they trying to hide?
Yeah, that you can't win. And I just think it'll take some time to go through this. If there is new information, believe me, there are enough people looking at it that will find it, but it just takes a while.
It does. All right. Now, do you have an official talk show host opinion on, I believe that there were 2 shooters. And I believe that the CIA was probably involved. That's my opinion. Now, do you have one?
I have suspicions. I don't have any strong feelings because I've not seen any evidence that convinces me 100% anyway of anything other than the official narrative. I know that I don't believe the single bullet theory. Let's put it that way. Senator Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania was the author of the single bullet theory, the magic single bullet.
Right.
And when I look at it, I have to agree of criticisms of that theory. I don't think that bullet could have done all of that. Were there other shots fired? Yeah, for a while there was a big discussion about a missing bullet. We knew a bullet was fired and they never recovered the bullet. And what they found out years later, I mean, in just the last few years, is that they now believe that bullet hit a traffic signal that was between Oswald and the convertible. And that you can, when you go back and look at pictures taken the day after the assassination, nobody caught it in real time, but there was a little hole in one of those traffic.
No kidding.
Yeah. And years, it was there for years for anybody to see. But apparently, I don't know, a number of years ago, they replaced that. It's just a matter of replacing traffic signals. But that answers one of the questions. Where was that other bullet?
There you go.
And so, yeah, there are a lot of things. Apparently, the bullet just shattered, and they never did find the pieces of it. But, there are a lot of things out there. When you walk it, Dealey Plaza, and I have. My daughter, back during the 50th anniversary, when they were teaching this in school and kids were fascinated by it, she wanted to go to Dealey Plaza. And I took her there, and we walked around and looked at it. And when you walk it, you look at it, you say, that's a hell of a shot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And some of these documents talk about how he really wasn't that much of a marksman. So
that's exactly right. Okay. Give me a yes or no, because we've spent too much time on this, in my opinion, but it's a fascinating topic. Yes or no, do you believe that the people that have all of these, I'm not going to call them conspiracy theories, but do you believe that the people that have these theories will ever be satisfied with the documents that come about? Do you think they'll ever be satisfied with all the information?
We got it all this time. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be hard. It's hard to see how there could be that many more documents, but who knows? I think there are people who long for answers for things that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Anytime a story comes up that is some kind of mystery and we need an answer and this is unresolved, people want to fill that void with their own theories. And sometimes those theories turn out to be right and sometimes they turn out to be wrong. But I got to tell you, as many years as has gone forward and nobody has come out to say, you would think that one whistleblower who knew the inside scoop would come out, but apparently that has never occurred. And we've never found that one smoking gun document, although, there may be something in this big dump of documents that came out yesterday.
All right, we'll see. Okay, coming up, Upchuck really steps in it. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Got to check the roads on WTN. Alrighty, 716, a high of 69 today. High winds, rain, some storms as well later on tonight. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Brian Wilson joining us. By the way, this segment is brought to you by the Wellness Institute of Nashville. All right, so Brian, let's talk about Chuck Schumer going on The View. For folks that are just joining us, this is Chuck Schumer and what he believes people, conservatives, are saying about paying taxes.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay.
There you go. So, I mean...
And I went, yeah, Chuck, that's exactly right.
I was going to say, and what's the issue? You know what I mean? So for him to... Well, I'm going to let you... I already said my piece on this. When you heard that, one of the things that I thought was, Chuck, you're smarter than this.
Yeah, somebody said that his personal ratings, when you ask people, what do you think about Chuck Schumer, we're very close to the same feeling people have about the Ebola virus. I mean, that really is true. Apparently, it is right in that range of support. Chuck Schumer, quite frankly, is history, and he just doesn't know it yet. He's politically speaking, I'm saying here, he's a dead man walking politically because, he lost the Senate, and first of all, that irritates the Democrats, and they're ready for a fight. They want a fight. I think Chuck Schumer is saying, I don't think this is the fight we want. You got to pick your battles, and he's trying to be cautious about it. He didn't think that closing down the government was the right answer. I don't know, how Democrats have come to feel about that, but it seems like they're pretty angry about that. At least some of them are. Look, 27% support for the Democrats and what they're doing in America today. That according to an NBC poll. And if you dig deeper into that poll, 7% have a very favorable feeling about what the Democrat Party is. This party is in trouble, and they're flailing around. I mean, it's just like it's chaos on their side of the equation because they still can't believe that they got beaten in the last election. They're still looking backwards. And they really haven't decided the way they're going to proceed in the future. And I think as a party, the Democrats are in deep doo-doo. I really do.
Well, and the thing is, so let's go back in time. They can't believe that Hillary got beat. Then they finally got Joe Biden in there. He was a complete and epic disaster. And so ultimately that led to Donald Trump coming back. So they've had one disaster after another. It's like they lost when Hillary was running. Then they got Joe Biden in there, one way or another. And then he was, again, just from the economy to his dealing with COVID to the military, the pullout of Afghanistan, the price of gas, inflation, just completely bombed. And now Donald Trump is back. So I think, Brian, that they need a transformative figure to come in outside of politics like Donald Trump did for the Republicans.
And that may be their only option. Who is that person? Everybody says, Oprah Winfrey. Well, okay, bring me Oprah Winfrey. Bring me all you can get. I think most Americans realize that there's a difference between being a talk show host and being the president of the United States. But who knows? Maybe they'll bring on somebody like that. But the bottom line is, they are, they're a party of anger and disarray, and you compare and contrast that with what's happening on the other side of the equation. Has it been perfect? No. But boy, are things getting done. And I think that even over time, some of these cases where the various district court level judges have gotten in and stopped Trump, I think all that's going to get resolved in fairly short order. And a lot of this stuff will go to the Supreme Court. And we'll see. We'll see exactly how much power a president has. But I feel that the president is in charge of the executive branch, and he has that power, and he has the ability to trim government and make these kinds of changes. There may be some things that where you need a legislative fix, but by and large, I think he has the authority to redefine the executive branch since he is the president in charge of the executive branch.
Hey, Joan, watch this. I'm going to trigger Brian. Hey, Brian, we're talking about a transformative figure. What about Michelle Obama?
Yeah, here you go. That one more time. I don't know. She's doing a podcast, but
It's not that podcast is terrible and nobody's listening to it.
And nobody is listening to it. You know, just because you have a microphone doesn't mean you know how to use it.
Yes.
Microphone's a very powerful weapon. You got to know how to use it, and she doesn't apparently have that ability. I don't know. Everybody says that, but everything I know, I'll say it again for the 1,000th time. What I know about Michelle Obama from people who are very close to her is that she has absolutely zero desire to be the president of the United States.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, she's going to have more time on her hands because apparently she and Barack are going to be divorcing. So
Well,
there's
that's
that.
what
We don't know. We don't know about
Jennifer
that.
Aniston.
I'm just kidding. What'd you say?
Jennifer Aniston.
Okay. You know about that story?
Yeah, I know about that story, right? Yeah.
All right. Brian, thank you for...
Always a pleasure, Dano.
Absolutely.
And thanks to the Wellness Institute for sponsoring my appearances here on your program.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian, and we'll talk again soon. Joan, do you believe Barack and Jennifer Aniston have ever been or will be or are a thing?
Well, I think there's too much talk about it to ignore it.
Have they ever come out and just denied it?
I think she did at one point.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But that doesn't mean anything, right?
Well, of course not.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
I mean, it sure is fun to talk about.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's gossip, and we shouldn't do that.
Oh, no, we should absolutely do that.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Really? Because you think, listen, Jennifer Aniston is one of the most, famous people out of Hollywood. And obviously we know most people know Barack Obama, too. And among these allegations that there may be a divorce afoot, we don't know. Whatever. I don't think most people actually care. It is 7:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And coming up in the news at 7:30, Joan Jones, I know that we don't have any kind of Barack Obama, Jennifer Aniston update.
None of that.
None of that
fun stuff. But we do have some thunderstorms coming in tonight. Will they pack the same punches over the weekend? Well, we'll take a look at that with Stefano DiPietro coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So if they got together, if they got together, would it be Baronifer? Baronifer? Is that what, can we go ahead and put a hashtag on it? Baronifer?
Wouldn't it be Barackifer?
You could do Barockifer too. I actually like yours better, Barockifer.
That K sound really brings it out.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on. I'm sorry, that's my shank. Do you want me to go ahead and do the commercial?
Do it.
All right, 7:24. I apologize. 7:24 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mattis here. Make 2025 the year that you get active again. If you've been sidelined with chronic back, neck, or knee pain, check out my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville and Dr. Kevin Mitchell. I've been a client for over 10 years. I've never felt better. And yes, he does sponsor the segment with Brian. He's always been a huge supporter of WTN, and we thank him for that. Now, I arrived in Tennessee over a decade ago, and I went through spinal decompression therapy for my chronic back pain. It did help me a lot. Every once in a while, I need a tune-up. Dr. Mitch does indeed fix me right up, and right now, a great deal. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is offering the Big 47 offer in honor of our 47th President of the United States. 47% off of spinal decompression. Now, they utilize the latest high-tech equipment in their state-of-the-art facility to provide effective, non-surgical solutions. Call them. Tell them I told you to reach out. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Get that 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. The website, painisbad.com. Traffic news and weather is coming up in just moments. Dan Mandis here for Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Listen, it is spring rebate madness at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I want you to listen to these rebates because you could save a lot of money. A mini split 17 SEER or heat pump 17 SEER, that is an $800 rebate. Heat pumps 15 and 16 SEER, you're going to get a $500 rebate from Busy Bee, and duct sealing or repair, you get a $300 rebate, again, from Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Join the Beehive Club today. A couple of rebates here as well. You join today, you get a $50 rebate on your spring and fall tune-up. That means that you've already saved enough money to pay for the Beehive membership for the year. By the way, they're also going to file the rebates so you don't have to. Find them online, and it's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. BusyBeeHVAC.com is the website. BusyBeeHVAC.com. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833, BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Good morning, 7:30. I'm 7:31. Make that. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Still closed this morning, Murfreesboro Road at Leanna Lane in Lebanon. It's because of a crash investigation. Been there for quite a while this morning. Metro Council has passed a bill that allows police to access a network of cameras within the community. This is that so-called Fusus technology. It allows police to watch surveillance video from private companies and residences, but only those who give the okay beforehand. Mayor Freddie O'Connell has said in the past that having that technology would greatly benefit Metro Police in solving crimes. An operations analyst for the Metro government of Nashville has been arrested and charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. Police say 48-year-old Jesse Stinson admitted to using Yahoo email to send child sexual abuse material to others. They do expect additional charges to be filed today. We are expecting some thunderstorms to arrive in the mid-state area later today, but Stefano DiPietro tells us for this one, we can just chill out.
What this means for us is that the severe threat is much more isolated. So not a widespread severe weather outbreak threat like what we were talking about this past weekend. Rough timeline between 5 o'clock this evening and midnight tonight. High wind gusts, heavier rainfall will be the main concern. Your tornado threat is very low. That is virtually zero, and that is certainly some good news.
And stick around. We've got the full forecast just after the news here. A couple of NASA astronauts are finally back on Earth after 9 months in space. An amazing splashdown in the Gulf of America last evening. And now comes the hard part for Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore.
With so much time spent in space, their road to recovery will be a long one. Blood and fluids shifting up can cause eye and brain changes in astronauts, and the pair will have to relearn the basics like walking. Their bodies once again getting used to gravity.
ABC's Lionel Moisey there. Those astronauts are at a hospital in Houston for medical evaluations. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather up ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. DT McCall's 734, Nashville's Morning News. I love DT McCall's for so many reasons. They do save you a ton of money. Now, right now, gun safes are still sales tax free at DT McCall's. They are the largest Liberty Safe dealer here in the state of Tennessee. They do offer free delivery and free setup. A lot of these other places are going to charge you $500 at least for delivery and setup in bigger models, $300 for smaller models. DT McCall and Sons, they deliver every safe for free every time, period, and no setup charge either. So check them out online, dtmccalls.com. Save some big bucks right now on your Liberty gun safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. Dan Mandis here. You know, it is so amazing to be able to see without glasses for the first time since I was 16 years old. Thanks to Dr. Horn and all the vision pros at Vision for Life. I needed corrective surgery to treat my cataracts, and I researched all the local ophthalmologists in Middle Tennessee. One guy kept showing up as Nashville's absolute best, Dr. Horn at Vision for Life. Now, they've been doing this for 20 years now, 20 years. Of helping folks see with 20/20 vision or better. Vision for Life has thousands of positive reviews, and yes, they have been around for decades. Now, Dr. Horn is going to take the time to sit with you and answer all of your questions. I had a ton. He was very patient and answered every single question, alleviated all my concerns. He's going to do the same thing for you. Now, I think it's been about, 5-6 weeks since I had my corrective surgery. I am at 20/20 vision and never happier. So call them if you're thinking about vision correction. Call them at 615 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Dr. Horn and Vision for Life online, visionforlife.com.
Well, it's still closed this morning on Murfreesboro Road in Lebanon, right south of Leanna Lane. It's a crash investigation, so it's been out there for just a little over an hour. We are expecting that it won't take that much longer to get it cleared out. 65, couple of trouble spots this morning. One is in Franklin at 65 northbound at Murfreesboro Road, exit 65. The crash taking out 2 center lanes. And then if you're traveling southbound side in Talbot's Corner at Trinity Lane, got a crash blocking off the right shoulder. One more for you. It's in Pleasant View on the 24 eastbound lanes at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass. That is an accident with stop-and-go traffic a long while behind that. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into Nashville's Morning News, and good morning to you. I don't know, Joan, this is getting really bad. The Musk derangement syndrome. Have you seen this headline?
Which one? I mean, there's so many.
Musk-hating hackers released the names and addresses of every Tesla owner in America.
Unbelievable. How do they get their hands on it?
With a chilling symbol. Oh, I don't know. They do. They're all these hackers.
They're smarty pants.
Elon Musk, this is from the Daily Mail. Elon Musk-hating hackers have doxed Tesla owners in the United States, releasing an interactive map showing their names, addresses, phone numbers, and emails. The disturbing website, which I'm not going to name, also provides the locations of every Tesla showroom, charging station, and the known residences of Department of Government Efficiency employees. It even lists FBI Director Kash Patel's home and uses a symbol of a Molotov cocktail as its cursor. I mean, this is insanity. I mean, we keep hearing stories. There is a story, Molotov cocktails being thrown at Tesla dealerships. You've got Teslas being shot at. I mean,
the one last night was somebody shot Molotov cocktails through the windows of a Tesla dealership in Las Vegas. And now finally the police are saying, hey, this looks like terrorism.
Well, it is terrorism.
It absolutely is.
And the stupid thing is, and we all keep saying this, but the stupid thing is that, and I'm not excusing it, but the people that have these Teslas, they are on the same political line, by and large, as the Democrats. Exactly. I mean, the people that drive Teslas are Democrats, by and large. I mean, that's changing by the day because you have a lot of Democrats that are now giving away their Tesla. There was, who was it? This was so classic. There was a Democrat.
It was the astronaut, Mark Kelly.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
He owned a Tesla, and then he proudly either sells or gives it away, whatever it is, and then he gets a big old gas-guzzling SUV. I mean,
and he's the astronaut. You know, I cannot believe. And last night, so he bought the SUV. He's been roundly criticized for doing this.
right.
Guess who had him on last night as the space shuttle was touching down?
Oh, CNN?
No, Fox News.
Fox News had Mark. Well, I guess it's a very small.
He's an astronaut, and I
He's
get
an
it.
astronaut. It's a very small group of people.
Come on.
But
Come
well,
on.
I'm curious as to, okay, so was he crediting Elon Musk, and was he crediting, the greatness that Elon goes up there and rescues these two when Biden left them up there for 9 months?
I have to tell you, I as soon as I saw his face, turned it off.
Did you really?
Yes.
KGB, see if you can find it on YouTube. If we can find Mark Kelly on Fox News, because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, yesterday was a great day. Elon was on Sean Hannity's show last night, and he talked about a number of different things. One of the things that Elon said was that he was nervous about this flight, but he knew that this was something that he had to do.
Well, I'm actually usually a little nervous about these returns because there's always some risk that something could go wrong. But thanks to the excellent work of the SpaceX team working with NASA, the astronauts are now safely home. And so congratulations to the SpaceX and NASA teams on excellent work, and a huge note of appreciation to President Trump for prioritizing and expediting their return.
There you go, Donald Trump. Now, remember that they weren't supposed to be rescued until a couple of more weeks from now, but Trump said, nope, you go get them, and you go get them right now, because, one of the big issues, and Joan, you and I spoke about this yesterday, is that there are some very serious impacts, physical impacts of being in space that long.
The normal amount of time that astronauts are supposed to be in zero G is about 3 months, and then really at the most about 6 months. That's sort of the normal rotation, and they were up there for almost 10 months. So that's really going beyond what is healthy or good. So it's a good thing that thanks to the support of President Trump, we hope to bring them back, because really things get just a lot worse if they stay in zero G for, past a year or more.
I mean, that goes beyond just an inconvenience. I'm talking about Joe Biden now. You've got these astronauts, they're up in space, and hearing Elon Musk talk about that, and if you watch the video, they did have to be basically stretchered off of that capsule as they were getting back on Earth, because they can't walk. And you just heard Elon Musk. This put them in physical danger. And it was Joe Biden who decided to leave them up in space. Hannity, Elon Musk was on with Sean Hannity last night. And there's some folks that are saying, well, this whole notion that Elon Musk had approached Joe Biden and said, I can go get them down. Would you like my help? And Biden said no. There's some people out there that are saying that actually never happened, that Elon is trying to score some political points. Well, Hannity, and he said, this is a great day for America. I don't want to politicize this, but I'm going to go ahead and politicize this and ask you the question again. Ask for your confirmation that you and Joe Biden or the Biden administration had this discussion. His answer, Elon Musk's answer, is straight ahead. It is 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. (7:46) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As far as your weather for today, we've got a high of 69, high winds. We've got rain later tonight, some storms as well. Your complete forecast is coming up in the 8 o'clock hour right here on Super Talk 99.7 at 8 o'clock, straight up here on Super Talk 99.7. So
I got fooled.
Joan Jones got fooled. You can't put one over on Joan Jones. How did you get fooled?
It wasn't Mark Kelly. It was his twin brother, Scott Kelly, who is also an astronaut. That was on Fox News yesterday.
It's like a soap opera.
Yeah.
It was the twin all along.
It really was.
The evil twin brother.
How about that?
You got fooled.
I did.
Of all people, Joan Jones.
Yeah.
Okay. So you missed a good interview then.
Maybe. But, you know,
I
by
wonder
that
if Scott
time,
Kelly is opposite of Mark Kelly's, because Mark Kelly is a flaming liberal.
politics,
Right?
yeah.
So I'd be curious to know if Scott Kelly is more conservative and Mark Kelly is more liberal. I would
We should
find
look
that
into
very
this.
interesting.
I would too. I was just glad to know that it's not Mark Kelly because that would be so disrespectful to their viewers.
Absolutely, it would be. Okay. So Sean Hannity last night asked Elon Musk, did you really go to the Biden administration and offer an early rescue? And they said no. Did that really happen?
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most, and we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
I mean, it's just a fact, and it's not real surprising with the Biden administration, but hearing the physical ailments that these astronauts, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, of course, here from Middle Tennessee, where I live in Mount Juliet, and the physical ailments, Joan, that these two have, it is incredibly horrifying when you think about the fact that they are going to be dealing with these physical ailments after 9 months up in space, almost 10 months, and Biden left them up there theoretically knowing, although he never really actually knew where he was at any given moment, but knowing that they were actually going to suffer horrific physical issues by being kept up in space all that long. I mean, we talked about how they can barely walk.
Yeah. Also, so you want to hear this? ABC's Lionel Moisey, the reporter, had this to say about what they're going to face now.
With so much time spent in space, their road to recovery will be a long one. Blood and fluids shifting up can cause eye and brain changes in astronauts, and the pair will have to relearn the basics like walking, their bodies once again getting used to gravity.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insanity.
Yeah.
I guess you get taller, too. I'm not exactly sure how, but you do. You get taller.
Dan, should we shoot you in space?
You know, some people already say I'm a space cadet, so whatever.
That's right.
Talk about just a shot right between the eyes right there.
Hey, what do you think is the ultimate goal? What is Elon Musk's ultimate goal with SpaceX?
Well,
Hannity
he's
asked him
already
that
said-
question.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, he's already talked about Mars, right?
Yeah, he says he wants to be up in Mars within, I think he said 30 years. Listen.
We are going to be able to take astronauts to Mars. In fact, we want to take anyone who goes to Mars and ultimately build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. That is the long-term goal of the company.
How long do you think that might take SpaceX to be able to accomplish?
I think we could do it in 20 to 30 years.
So there you go. 20 to 30 years, we may be colonizing Mars.
Would you ever do that? Would you ever think about going to Mars and like literally living there, leaving your family on Earth
No,
and taking off to go to a different planet?
I don't think so. I think once the novelty wore off, I
Yeah.
think it'd be like, oh, Lord, what have I done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then getting back to Earth would take you, what, 17 years or something?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you really have to be decided.
To me, it wouldn't be worth it, and I could not see leaving my loved ones, back on Earth. And and these astronauts, they got to be younger, right? Because of all the time shifting and all that.
It's not like Interstellar where you don't age and the time goes by slower than it does on Earth. It's not like that.
Okay. Well, the answer is no. I wouldn't. Would you, Joan?
Oh, heck no.
Didn't we do a poll one time, KGB, where we said if you could send one Democrat to Mars, who would it be?
No, we never done that.
We never did that poll?
No.
I know we had that conversation.
Yeah.
You want to change the poll?
Are we doing this? Okay.
Chuck Schumer. Here, help me, Joan.
Yeah.
So we got 4 choices, right?
Yes.
Which Democrat would you like to permanently send to Mars?
Adam Schiff.
Adam Schiff,
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Schumer,
Yeah.
Got to put Jasmine Crockett in there.
Jasmine Crockett.
AOC in there?
Or AOC.
So those are our 4?
Those are the 4. And if you want to write in.
Missing anyone?
If you want to. What?
Are we missing anyone?
Yeah,
I feel
like the whole Democratic Party.
Well, I mean,
Well, there's a lot of them.
Okay.
So if you want to write in a candidate, feel free. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan, I don't mind telling you,
Yeah.
I'm receiving a lot of hate this morning.
Oh, no, we can't have that.
All the people that know everything about the JFK assassination are saying, why did you say this? Why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? So I give up. Let Chris Hand have all the
You
fun.
can't please, my dad used to say, you can't please all of the people all of the time.
You know what, though? People say if you're getting a lot of hate, then you must be doing something right.
That's right.
So
Some
there you go.
attention's better than no attention.
Exactly, Joan. What's coming up at 8?
Well, when you notice this today.
Daytime wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, you know that there's a thunderstorm right behind it. We'll tell you what to expect from these storms today. Coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. Spring cleaning time is here, and my friends at Zero Res, they're offering a great way to get your carpets clean and save you money. Now, I've been using these folks for years at Zero Res because they don't use harsh chemicals. They don't use a bunch of soaps, just powered water. And that does mean pure safety for your family and your pets. Now, think about not only last weekend, but the last couple of months and what we have coming up tonight. Bunch of rain. We had a bunch of snow. All of that dirt and grime and the bacteria, that's all being tracked into your home. You need a carpet cleaning company that can safely get your carpets clean. For me, that company is Zero Res, and for a lot of folks, as a matter of fact, not only does Zero Res have the highest approval rating possible from the Carpet and Rug Institute, Zero Res is rated the #1 cleaning system in the nation by an independent testing laboratory. When they clean, there is nothing left behind. They've also got great reviews on both Google and Facebook. And yes, from the Mandis household as well. They've got a great deal going on right now for the month of March. 2 rooms of carpets cleaned for $109. 2 rooms of carpets cleaned, $109. 25% off of area rugs as well. Restrictions may apply. Call them 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com. 7:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So, couple of things real quick. Joan, we got to do some cleanup.
Uh-oh.
No, not bad. It's
Okay.
just been a very fast-paced show. So, earlier we had a poll, do you hate the government? And what was the final result of that? And by the way, why these things come up is too long to even explain. It's all of these things.
It's all in your brain. It's all in the mind of Dan Manis.
No. It's oftentimes very fast moving, and I can't always just go back and explain why the polls happened. But do you hate the government? What was the final WTN number on that?
I thought it was going to be like a 100% one, but this was close. 57 yes to 42 no.
Okay. So now the current poll is, which Democrat would you like to send to Mars? And we missed a few. We can only have like 4 choices.
Yeah.
So what are the 4?
Jasmine Crockett, Chuck Schumer, AOC, and Adam Schiff.
Who's winning currently?
Adam Schiff, but by only a little, and Jasmine Crockett's itching behind him.
I've heard from Bill Clinton. He wants to add Hillary to the list.
Nice.
All right, it's 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello there. It is 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The headache continues in Lebanon. Murfreesboro Road still closed off. Holloway Road to Leanna Lane. It's the investigation after a crash that occurred earlier this morning. We'll keep our eye on it. You'll want to be weather aware today. Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro telling us that, yes, we are getting some thunderstorms and rain tonight.
But not those slow-moving downpours like this past weekend. So we're not really expecting any flooding, though there could be some ponding. 1 out of 5 is that severe threat across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Hail and tornado threats are not a big concern for us heading through today.
Okay, keep it right here. The forecast is just after the news. On a final reading, Metro Council gave the okay for police to use private cameras to help investigate crimes. But Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac tells us this time there are some guardrails.
Here's what's different about this updated plan. Private cameras can only be accessed in emergencies, and officers have to log every time they pull up footage. Private areas and inside of homes will not be accessible, and apartment buildings can only link cameras in parking lots.
Now, that plan needs to be funded. That's what's next for it. A bill that threatens state oversight of failing Tennessee public schools has just passed its first legislative battle. The Tennessee Public Schools Act allows the state to step in if certain circumstances are met.
That includes if 30% or more of the schools in that district were assigned a D or an F letter grade, if 25% of the students are chronically absent, if the district is in the bottom 5% of performance statewide, and if the local legislative body votes, they have no confidence in the local school board.
Channel 4's Holly Thompson. That bill's now headed to the full House Legislative Committee. Well, there's been another act of violence against Tesla vehicles, this time in Las Vegas. Multiple incidents have been reported nationally as Elon Musk works with the Trump administration.
Being investigated by the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force at around 2:44 in the morning, somebody dressed all in black fired a gun into Tesla vehicles parked at a Las Vegas Tesla collision center and then set 2 Teslas on fire using Molotov cocktails. The word resist was written on the building. FBI Special Agent in charge, Spencer Evans, says it may have been terrorism.
It certainly has some of the hallmarks that we might think, the writing on the wall, the potential, political agenda. There's an act of violence.
Alex Stone, ABC News.
Money News now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We had another day of losses yesterday on Wall Street. Today, not looking as bad. The Dow futures are up. We've got them up 39 points. NASDAQ futures are plus 64. S&P futures are up by 13 points. Just about a half hour before the opening bell. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Lebanon, we still have it closed off on Murfreesboro Road for a crash investigation. Been there for just about an hour, 45 minutes at this point. It's closed Murfreesboro Road, Holloway Road to Leanna Lane. Also, Franklin, 65 northbound at Murfreesboro Road, still working a crash scene there that blocks off the right shoulder. And a crash as well on Nolensville Pike now at Thompson Lane. Old Hickory, they're working a crash too on Chute Lane east of Brandywine Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Listen to this headline. 807, Nashville's Morning News. Listen to this headline.
Okay.
Because it is so condescending. It's, of course, from the Washington Post. Trump and his aides cheerily celebrate deportations. Again, Trump and his aides cheerily celebrate deportations. Now, they're framing this like it's a bad thing. Like, oh my God, Donald Trump is celebrating the dehumanizing of immigrants, right? Isn't it a good thing, I would ask the Washington Post, that we're getting rid of rapists and murderers and drug dealers? It is so insane to me. I just saw this, and it is insane to me that anyone in the media is taking the side of the bad guys on this. I said yesterday, and a lot of people picked up on it, where this is literally good versus evil. I mean, this is, and if you don't think Donald Trump is good, well, whatever. But clearly, can we all just agree that child traffickers, drug dealers, murderers, and rapists are bad people, are evil? I mean, it is so funny. And one of the things I heard, I think it was Chris Hand talking about this yesterday, is the band, is it Seismonic? Is that the name of the band?
Yes, I think it is Seismonic. Yeah.
Where the song Closing Time,
Yeah.
where, and Caroline Leavitt actually said this during the White House press conference. I wish I had the audio, but I don't. But it's, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here at CBP. The White House posted with musical note emojis a reference to the song lyrics. The video was posted on Team Trump's TikTok and reposted by the official account for U.S. Customs and Border Protection with the caption, "It's closing time. We are making America safe again." And so part of what they're doing, and I'm going to read you this one frame, this one paragraph. They say immigration experts, academics, and political strategists see a communications approach that's aimed at the administration's core supporters and leans into a policy area where Donald Trump polls more favorably compared with the economy or his overall job performance. They're saying this is all political, these celebrations. During his presidential campaign, Trump repeatedly said that he viewed immigration and the border as the top issue for Americans over the economy. I think that's true. I can't remember what the number one, it was either immigration or the economy. One of those was the top. For a lot of people, it was the economy. For other people, it was immigration. But listen to this. Some immigration experts also describe the use of humor as dehumanizing by minimizing the impact and the repercussions of the government's aggressive actions. They added that images of migrants in shackles boarding deportation flights contribute to Trump's broad portrayal of undocumented immigrants as criminals, even though blah, blah, blah. They'll say even though there's little evidence that they commit crimes at a higher rate than U.S. citizens. We'll argue that another time. But in that one paragraph, you want to just scream from the rafters, they're not immigrants, they are illegal alien gang members who have done awful things. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Good Lord. They say the sense of humor really signals that the person consuming this message is in the in group. They're in on the joke. No, I think that people are just excited that we've been able to get rid of a lot of these, well, not enough of them, but these illegal alien gangbangers from MS-13 and, of course, Tren de Aragua. And so this is something that for Donald Trump and for the Republicans, yeah, I would say this is a victory.
Not at all, Jesse. In fact, we have a very strong Venezuelan American population down in South Florida, and they've been for many years during Biden's whole open borders. They were the ones warning about the people that Venezuela was sending. Those are people that were in the prisons. These were very problematic individuals. Heck, when we did the first flight to Martha's Vineyard, most of those were Venezuelans. People thought the Venezuelan Americans in Florida were going to be upset. They were very happy with that because they knew what was going on. So President Trump's doing the right thing.
Everybody knows the voice of Ron DeSantis. He was on with Jesse Waters. And you heard him say, now yesterday, in case you missed it, we podcasted, but all of this is part of weaponized migration. And that is part of what Donald Trump is using to justify deporting these folks using the Alien Enemies Act. So if you missed that podcast, it's really good. Check it out online at 997WTN.com. I just read you some of what the Washington Post, the fish wrap that is the Washington Post, had to say about Trump and the migrants and having a sense of humor about deporting MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. And it's kind of interesting because, as we said yesterday, with Channel 2 and that bizarre headline where they did not even acknowledge in their headline here locally that Trump was deporting gang members. They just said that he was deporting migrants against the judge's order, completely obfuscating the facts. And DeSantis talked about the media coverage, whether it's locally here, Channel 2, or as the Washington Post is framing this, again, Donald Trump is deporting innocent migrants.
And, you know, when I hear these sound bites of these legacy media apparatchiks comparing these Venezuelan gang members to Irish immigrants from the 19th century, you know, I'm just thinking legacy media, maybe they should just shut down and start over because what they're doing is just such a fraud and the public does not believe a word they say anymore.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, remember, DeSantis was the one, and I really like Ron DeSantis. He was the one who flew migrants to the liberal enclave known as Martha's Vineyard. Remember all that?
They declared a state of emergency. Yeah. This, mind you, Jesse, was an actual enclave, Martha's Vineyard, that claimed to be a sanctuary jurisdiction. They actually had an office that was supposedly to welcome refugees. I think it was just for virtue signaling. I don't think they actually ever used it. But they declared a state of emergency. They had the National Guard come out, and this was just 50. And they were gone off that island within 48 hours.
Yep. So there you go. And that just proved that the Democrats and the liberals, yes, indeed, they are absolute hypocrites. And judging from their media coverage, they're also liars. It is 8:15. Coming up, Greg Jarrett from Fox News. He talks about the decision, the very bad decision of this judge that wanted Donald Trump to turn this plane around, the plane full of rapists and murderers and drug dealers. This judge, Boasberg, as you know, told Trump to turn the plane around, and they said absolutely not. Coming up, Greg Jarrett from Fox News talks about this from a legal standpoint. Details straight ahead. 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you, Christy. Your weather today, a high of 69, wind, and also rain later tonight, storms as well. Your complete forecast is coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So, yeah, Greg Jarrett, Fox News, this Judge Boasberg, and this is a guy. Remember yesterday I told you that his wife had made really nasty comments about Donald Trump on the socials, big-time supporter and donor to Hillary Clinton. And so clearly this judge is predisposed to hate everything that Donald Trump does. And Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, talks about how bad of a decision this judge made from a legal perspective.
First of all, he issued a temporary restraining order without so much as a hearing or allowing the Trump administration to utter a word. Second of all, the plaintiffs being held were in Texas. This is a Washington, D.C. judge. He doesn't have jurisdiction. And finally, the exclusive remedy here under that law is what's known as a habeas petition. It's not a temporary restraining order. Bozeman seems unbothered by that. And then he exceeds his authority, ordering planes returned to the U.S.
while they were in air.
Yeah, I mean, he has no authority for that. Once a plane leaves U.S. soil and is outside U.S. airspace, no judge has authority for that.
So it's obvious that the Democrats, they're shredding the Constitution. What they've done is they've planted hundreds of judges across the country to stop Donald Trump at every move. We talked yesterday, I forget who I was talking to, but it's like the Democrats have just this Rolodex of judges that they can call. Well, this judge would be really good at stopping Donald Trump from dismantling USAID, which is part of the news cycle today. This judge would be great at telling Donald Trump to turn that plane around full of rapists and murderers and so forth. And so the one thing that I would say about Trump and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, I hope they're doing the same thing. Remember, the one thing that Trump and Mitch McConnell were able to do really well together is they were able to get a whole bunch of judges installed all across the country, confirmed all across the country. I hope that Donald Trump does that in spades this time around, because we need to be ready. And you know what? If this makes me part of the problem, well, then fine. But we need to fight fire with fire. At some point, it is going to be a Democrat behind the Resolute desk. When that happens, we need to have Republicans placed all across the country so that we can treat the Democrats like they're treating Donald Trump, a president who absolutely had a mandate to do everything that he is doing right now. But Trump knew what to expect, and he's working on the appeals process. So there's a lot to talk about with all of the things that Donald Trump is trying to do. But one of the things that Greg Jarrett said, again, legal analyst from Fox News, is he did talk about all of these activist judges that Donald Trump is having to deal with.
So I think this is judicial activism. There's too much of that. Judges in the lower courts and the federal district courts allow their personal animus and political views to dictate their decisions and not the law.
I couldn't tell that, Greg Jarrett. Obviously, a great analysis from Greg Jarrett, and we'll continue to cover all of this. It's like an embarrassment of riches every single day on what the Democrats are doing. And I think part of the debate within the Democrat Party is how much should you fight Donald Trump? And it really is. It's ripping the Democrats apart. We've got, I covered that extensively earlier in the broadcast. We will, if we have not already, podcast that segment, because there is a lot of great things to say about how bad the Democrats are doing right now, including their polling, including their civil war within the Democrat Party. And a lot of people are saying that they are going to have a really hard time getting through this civil war. And I do say what I said earlier was they need some sort of a transformative figure like Donald Trump, but for their side, that can overcome all of the political angst and anger that is going on within the Democrat Party as they are battling each other. It is 8:20 on Nashville's Morning News. Hey, coming up, What happened during the big Donald Trump-Vladimir Putin phone call, and what was the result? Details straight ahead, and Joan Jones has the news at 8:30. Hey, Joan.
Hey there, Dan. Yeah, so after he talked to Putin yesterday, he's about to speak to Zelensky today. We'll have more on the follow-up after that call coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, promo people. 8:21 on Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. You know, for me, my backyard is my oasis. Now, I bet a lot of you folks feel the same way about your backyard, which is why I'm so glad that Save a Tree came into my life. Save a Tree can help you with trees and bushes and plants and shrubs. They can all look amazing thanks to Save a Tree. Now, if they're sick, they can nurse them back to health. And if they just don't look right, Save a Tree can make them look incredible with proper pruning. Now, you know that they came over to my house, Save a Tree did. I told them my issues with my plants and my shrubs. They came over and they gave me great suggestions on how to fix my crepe myrtles and, yes, my many shrubs as well. Now, these folks, they are actual arborists who can do wonders for your back or your front yard. So they can make your lawn look amazing and weed-free. They can treat yellow leaves with disease and diseased shrubs, and they can help you bring those trees back to life as well. See how beautiful your yard can be. Set up your own evaluation at saveatree.com. Spelling is important, S-A-V-A-T-R-E-E, saveatree.com. You can also simply dial pound 250 on your smart device and say the keyword Save a Tree. That's pound 250, keyword Save a Tree. $8:24 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Joan, sometimes I think that my poor wife listening to this program, she's going to get an aneurysm.
If she hasn't already had one.
So I get back to the desk here, and she has sent me a text message in all caps.
Uh-oh.
We'll talk about what that text message says coming up at 8:35 on Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. You know, you've probably been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here. And it does make you think, this is not a place that I want to go. And I do understand. Most of these dealers have really bad reputations. You know, those buy here, pay here places. A lot of folks don't want to go there. But I'm here to tell you that there is one place that you can go, Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Now, they're different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under $12,000. And if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, They can help you. If you need a first car for a 16-year-old, well, they can do that as well. You don't even need to take my word for it. The Google reviews for these folks are excellent. And that's saying something considering they're a car dealership. One location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They'll get you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. And they work with your own financing if you have it. Flexibility, transparency, honesty. That is why I recommend it. Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Find them online. It is automartcars.com. automartcars.com. $8:28. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. So, as you know, there was a big phone call yesterday, between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. And the president says that it went really well, apparently agreeing to a ceasefire on energy and infrastructure. But Putin did not agree to an overall 30-day ceasefire. So it does sound like he is at least willing, Vladimir Putin, to kill people, but not damage buildings. Awesome. Trump, by the way, says that clearly Russia does have the upper hand right now.
You have a lot of guns pointing at each other, and a ceasefire without going a little bit further would have been tough. Russia has the advantage, as you know. They have encircled about 2,500 soldiers. They are nicely encircled, and that's not good. And we want to get it over with. Look, we're doing this. There are no Americans involved. There could be if you end up in World War III over this, which is so ridiculous. But, you know, strange things happen. And I think we had a great call. It lasted almost 2 hours. Talked about a lot of things and toward getting it to peace. And we talked about other things also.
All right, so here's a couple of things. Number one, Vladimir Putin does have the upper hand on Ukraine. But number two, they're back to fighting overnight. Massive drone and bomb launches on both sides. And so Ukraine and Vladimir Putin, Russia exchanging a lot of rocket fire. So there is that as well. One of the things I think, and you heard Trump say that there, is that I think he's trying to work with Russia on some other things. He's trying to work with Russia on some deals. You heard him talk about, maybe some land deals or maybe a mineral deal with Russia as well. Trump is trying to, if you will, make these deals with Russia, get them used to making a lot of money in a partnership with America, in addition to Ukraine. And so that's good for us. But it also gives him some leverage over Vladimir Putin so that they understand, the Russians understand, that if they go after Ukraine again, they could lose out on a great deal to make a lot of money with America. Remember we talk about Trump playing, 3D chess while everybody else is playing checkers? This is part of that conversation. It is 8:30 on WTN.
Good morning, 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top story. Still closed this morning. The roadway in Lebanon, it's Murfreesboro Road between Holloway Road and Leanna Lane. Police are out there investigating an accident from earlier this morning. So it was Putin yesterday and Zelensky today.
Сьогодні у мене буде контакт з президентом Трампом.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at a news conference just this morning saying that he has a scheduled phone conversation with President Trump today. And after Trump's phone call with Vladimir Putin yesterday, Putin agreed to stop attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure for 30 days. A Madison woman tells Channel 4 that she called police when she noticed a white X painted on her windshield recently.
I noticed it before I even got to press the button.
Before she could even unlock her car, Natasha Reynolds says she spotted this white X drawn on her back windshield.
I took a picture of it. I tried to scrape it off. It didn't come off.
She says panic shot through her body, so she posted the picture to the Nashville girls group and called 911.
And there are other girls who have had similar things happen.
That is Channel 4's Sharon Dankwa reporting. Metro Police say they're looking into what those markers mean. You'll notice some wind kicking up this afternoon, and that should signal that there is a thunderstorm on the way. We've got thunderstorms later today and into tonight. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro, though, telling us these storms could become strong. But there's little to no chance that we'll see tornadoes from these storms. Keep it here. The full forecast is coming right up. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The Federal Reserve expected to hold steady on interest rates at the conclusion of its two-day meeting today. Ahead of that, the markets this morning have begun the trading, and it looks like the Dow Jones Industrials are off to a pretty good start, up 99 points. NASDAQ gaining 115. S&P 500 index, they are up 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
8:33, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. Listen, spring and summer is upon us. What big events do you have planned? Whether it's maybe a big corporate event, maybe a family reunion, maybe a wedding, maybe a graduation ceremony, maybe you've got big Easter thing coming up at your home. Nashville Tent and Awning, they can help you with an incredible enclosure that can be installed anywhere. Now, they've been around since 1884. These folks at Nashville Tent and Awning, they are an institution here in Middle Tennessee. They've worked with the likes of the Titans, Vanderbilt University, and the Grand Ole Opry. Now, they are one of the top companies in Nashville. Think about your backyard. You know, you can actually extend your living space with a backyard enclosure so that you can enjoy it even here when the weather starts getting hotter in the next couple of months. So if you have an event, maybe for work coming up, they can also help you there as well with a tent or an enclosure. And they've got awnings for any style of building as well. That is going to improve the look and the feel of your home or office. Check them out online. They've got great visuals, examples of their work. ntaco.com and taco.com. 615-329-3701. 615-329-3701. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Solid craftsmanship built to last since 1884. Nashville Tent and Awning. $8:35, Nashville's Morning News. Guys, if you're feeling tired, motivation just isn't there, maybe some weight gain and muscle loss, well, these could all be signs of low testosterone. It is time that you found out for sure with my friends at Low T Center. Now, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It is just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back immediately. Now, this isn't your typical doctor's office. No, they specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy. We call it TRT for each individual patient. Now, they've been helping patients for over a decade, and their treatment plans, they're optimized for each individual patient. It's personalized health care, personalized just for you. There's nothing standard about Low T Center. Everything is customized. And by the way, for current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. And at Low T Center, you also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
So it's still closed this morning in Lebanon on Murfreesboro Road. This is between Holloway Road and Leanna Lane. Police are out there investigating after a crash. Got a crash, too, in Old Hickory. It's on Chute Lane, east of Brandywine Drive. That one involves some injuries. Clarksville, 24, the eastbound lanes right at Rossview Road. Got a crash reported in that area as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Joan, KGB, and Chris, do you think that shanking commercials like the one I just did for Low T is a sign of low T?
I don't think so.
It could be.
You don't think so, Chris?
I think you're all right.
You think I'm all right?
I think you're going to be just fine.
Says another guy who probably shanks commercials. Come on.
Wow.
Nailed it.
The shots from downtown by Joan Jones over there.
She's been feisty today.
Yeah, I mean, she went after your height earlier.
She did. You hear what she said about my height? She said maybe they need to send me up into space for 10 months so that I can get taller.
Just out of nowhere, too. Like, no warning.
That was like a smackdown.
I ate my Wheaties today.
That's hilarious.
Talk about like a sniper from 50 yards out of nowhere.
So, my wife is face palming and cringing. I actually blame you a little bit for this, Chris. Actually,
What? I just got here.
So yesterday we were having fun over a song called I Hate My Life. Remember that? We were talking about that?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a great song, I Hate My Life.
And it was Theory of a Dead Man.
It was
not
Theory of a
Nickelback.
Dead Man.
Yeah.
Why did you tell me that I was wrong?
Because I'd never heard the song. And then I found out via the super text line at about 9:04.
Okay. And I'm sure that there were like thousands of people. It's Theory of a Dead Man, you idiot.
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's when I started hating my life, was when I got to the car and Amy said that it was Theory of a Dead Man. And then we're talking about a band, Closing Time.
Yep.
And
Semisonic.
Semisonic. But apparently I shanked the pronunciation, I guess, of what did I say?
You said seismonic.
I have.
What did I say?
Hold on. I have the proof.
All right. It's so funny. And one of the things I heard, I think it was Chris Hand talking about this yesterday, is the band, is it Seismonic?
Wait,
Is that the
wait,
name of the
for it.
band?
Yes, I think it is
Seismonic?
seismonic. Yeah.
Well,
Joan messed up.
You got
man.
a Joan cosign.
Joan
You
gave
could have cut it off before me, buddy.
Seismonic.
No, Joan, you went cheap. I had to. Couldn't leave Dan alone that one.
So I get a text from Amy. Dear God, it's semisonic.
And the best
Spelled out.
Is it semisonic or semisonic? I went with semisonic.
Semisonic? I don't know.
I don't know. This is the most relevant the band has been in decades.
Yes, they should be happy. They're
Yeah.
complaining that they're using, that song to say, bye-bye to the, bad illegal aliens.
My favorite part about that whole story is while he goes on X and he's like, they didn't ask me for permission. He sold the rights to the music years ago.
Yeah,
So we didn't have to ask you for permission. We would have had to ask, whatever major corporation now owns the rights to your music.
I don't know who's more cringe now, them or Green Day.
Probably Semisonic.
Really?
You think
That's
so?
impressive. That's impressive.
At least Green Day had some hits.
Yeah, but they've been pretty cringe the last couple of years.
Yeah, they've been cringe for a while, but they had some hits.
All right, so I mispronounced seismonic.
I think you pronounced Seismonic correctly. You just butchered the band name.
Yeah.
Have you heard that singer Courtney Love is going to be leaving?
Oh boy,
America?
Amy's having a stroke right now.
I believe it's Courtney. Actually, I believe
Courtney Love has announced that she is getting UK citizenship and is trashing Emperor Donald Trump.
Oh.
What has she done the last decade? Nothing?
What has she ever done? I mean, I understand the band Hole, right? So that's her band, right?
I have no idea.
Okay. She has a band called Hole.
I know that
believe.
she was romantically involved with Kurt Cobain. I think that was the height.
Is that what you call it?
She has seen better days.
I think
Yeah.
that's really her claim to fame, right?
Yep.
Is Kurt Cobain.
She was married to Kurt Cobain. Married, right? She was married to Kurt Cobain. There is a nasty accusation out there that she has something to do with.
Oh, yeah.
But
Pushing him over the edge, kind of.
Yeah,
thing.
but I'm not going there. But
the band was Whole, by the way. You are correct.
Thank you. So, Courtney Love has now announced that she is going to be getting her British citizenship.
Bye-bye.
And plan to continue to.
This is going to be what turns the tide on the Brits being so pro-immigrant.
Oh my gosh!
It's like, no, we draw the line at Courtney Love.
Actually, we're full.
You know what? Send us Trende Aragua. We'll take them and leave Courtney Love in Seattle.
Yep.
So there you go.
Or what did Britain have? They had it wasn't the Madagascar project, but they were going to send all the migrants to a random place. Maybe they'll put Courtney Love on those flights too.
Maybe. Boy, she has seen better days. Moving right along. Anyway, so
I mean, I was not lying.
They used to send them to the penal colonies in Australia.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
It was a prison island.
Yeah.
Is that what they did?
Mm-hmm.
My wife said that Courtney Love's daughter, Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love's daughter, is married to Tony Hawk's son.
Whoa.
That makes me feel so old.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I remember when Tony Hawk was just a young guy. I saw him in a commercial the other day.
Yeah.
And
I know.
He's old.
He's got bad knees or something, right?
I wasted many hours of my life in the warehouse on Tony Hawk 1.
Oh my God! Yeah,
if you know, you know.
I have it on my N64 still, and I play it sometimes.
It's so good.
And also that song "Superman" by Goldfinger.
I got the repackaged version for the PS4 for the boys.
I got it too. You know they're making another remake, 3 and 4.
No.
You don't like 4? I like 4.
Nope.
All right, so we can stop the. Okay.
Can we? Can we?
Did either one of you two actually ever ride a skateboard?
Yes.
No, I rollerbladed like a loser.
You ever rollerblade? Did you wear your hot pink tight shorts too?
No, but I had the wrist guards.
I rollerblade now. I have rollerblades.
Do you?
I'll go out with the dog, and then I'll put them on when I play hockey with the kids.
You let the dog.
You have your
pull
shorts on, right?
No.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Just so we're clear, rollerblading is actually. I was just kidding, KGB. I love rollerblading.
It's
I used to
awesome.
rollerblade in Long Beach all the time when I lived in California way back when.
With the hair flowing in the wind.
Do you know what's so funny? I did.
I can imagine
I had
it. I
this
can picture it.
Head of hair, and it's flowing in the wind
You
as
get a
I'm
little
rollerblading.
speed. Yeah.
I can't see it. I'm sorry.
I was also wearing I hate to say this, but wife beater like T-shirt too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A boombox on the shoulder.
No, that I
bumping
couldn't
some
do.
Journey. Is that what you're doing?
That I couldn't do, but
Dan,
it was a really good rollerblade. I
you're
couldn't
good.
do backwards, but
You're good at me. Text me a picture of you with hair. I need an actual image because I can't see it.
you need to get on Facebook and look on Facebook and scroll down because I posted it a while ago. I've got it somewhere. I'll let you.
Yeah, I need proof.
Okay.
Picture didn't happen.
So Matt Murphy left $1 in this, or somebody left $1 in this studio. I walked in, and there's $1 in this studio.
Is it a social experiment?
I think Murphy's doing a social. We don't know. It's there, and so I walked in, and the entire studio is clean, like it should be.
Have you noticed there's been a lot less Murphy hair being left behind?
I have noticed that.
It's been nice.
So So I feel like there's a social experiment going on. What will Mandis do? There's $1 sitting on the table, and I could just picture Matt Murphy saying on his show, and I don't know if he did or not, but I can see Matt on his show saying, I'm going to leave $1. Let's see what Mandis does. Do you know what I mean?
He's so suspicious.
But no, it's on point.
It is on because that's the kind of mind games that Murphy does.
I want to channel my inner Nancy Pelosi and say it was a setup.
And I apologize for falling for a setup.
So what should I do? Should I take the dollar? Because, listen, I'm a capitalist like everybody else. So
Take it.
I call dibs.
Should I take the dollar?
Take it.
See, this is Matt Murphy living rent-free in your head.
That's okay. There's plenty of room.
Matt's just sitting in bed right now, just going, yes.
I got him.
Yes.
That's it. I got him. You know what?
Good.
First of all, who's got $1 these days? Because everybody uses cards.
I do, because I'm poor.
So let's do it. Let's do a poll. Let's do the last Daily Dan poll. And that Daily Dan poll will be, should Dan keep the dollar he found in the studio?
Yeah.
By the way, earlier we did a poll. And I think we've had 3 or 4 today. But if you could, because Elon Musk was saying that he is, 20 years away from sending people off to Mars or whatever it is. And so we asked the question, which Democrat would you like to send to Mars to live permanently? So we had AOC, Adam Schiff,
Jasmine Crockett, and Chuck Schumer.
Jasmine Crockett and Chuck Schumer, because Chuck Schumer's in the news today.
Yeah.
So what's
Well, who do you think won? Let's do that first.
I would have thought that it would be Jasmine Crockett would win, but you're going to tell me that
she's in third place.
Schiff won.
Schiff did win.
Well,
do you know who overtook second place? Jasmine Crockett was right behind him. Someone overtook her. Who do you think that was? Was
AOC.
AOC.
Correct. So Chuck Schumer got the lowest with 9%.
Here's why Schumer.
Schumer's at the end of the line. We're wasting a lot of time it would be more beneficial to send one of the younger ones.
That's exactly right. Here's why Schiff wants to go to Mars, because he's already lied to everyone on Earth. He's got to go up and lie to the Martians.
Accurate.
So anyway, the new question will be, should Mandis keep the dollar? That I would be willing to bet that Matt Murphy, in some sort of a Mandis social experiment, left $1 on the table.
Rent-free.
And you know what? I'll give it to charity. I'll give it to you, KGB.
You know what? I need it, so I can't say anything. I'm not offended.
I thought
Thank
you were
you.
going to say the tip jar at Starbucks after you get your coffee.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, so you brought something for this segment. So let take the Daily Dan poll, folks, and let me know if I should actually keep the Murphy money.
The Murphy money.
The Murphy money.
Murphy
We
bucks.
don't even know if it's from Matt, for the record. We don't.
Isn't that funny? Have we
no
received
idea.
a text message from Matt yet and saying it's not me?
No, and we have invoked his name so many times. I'm surprised he hasn't hit the hotline.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was just a complete accident? Someone happened to leave $1 there, and we're just making a huge assumption.
This is radio. Nobody accidentally leaves money in the studio.
No, we hold
Fair.
on to our money because we don't make a whole heck of a
has
lot.
money
Fair.
to leave. Yes.
This is also true.
All right, so people are saying that you and I should have like a roller blade off.
We should.
A race?
Just so we're clear.
Ooh.
No. I have not
Please.
been on rollerblades in about 25 years.
That makes it even better, though.
Come on,
For
it's
charity.
like
What if
riding
we-
a bike. You just
30,
get back
I'm so
on.
old.
We charge tickets, do a 100-meter race with rollerblades. Last one standing wins.
I'll go backwards. You go forwards.
Last one standing wins. I would need that $1 right there for my medical costs. Because remember what happened when we tried to play pickleball, me and Matt, is
You got beat by those old ladies.
we got beat by the old ladies, and Matt got injured to the point where he couldn't play me in pickleball again.
And then after that event, the talk of pickleball, which was all the talk of Super Talk, quickly faded into the background. It never was mentioned again.
Right. I know. I'm
Wow.
not sure why that
Did this
was.
occur before I was here?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably before I was here, too.
And
Yeah.
me and Mac Morey, who had never picked up pickleball rackets in our life, said we would play Dan and Matt, and they never took us up on the challenge.
Oh, you guys would kill them.
I don't. Number one.
I think we'd kill them too. I
Number
think we
one.
Age
Are you
factor.
Really? Are you throwing SmackDown?
I think
You want to play some pickleball?
If I had Mac Morey.
I
Well,
got
Mac's
you.
a
What
little
about me?
busy.
I'll team up.
You
Max,
wanna-
no.
all right, you want?
I grew up with a pickleball court.
No.
Not even kidding. My mom installed a pickleball court when I was 10.
I'll take Mason.
Well, then, fine.
Wow.
Mason can be
I
the
wanna
wall.
know- I
Nothing's
wanna-
getting past him.
I want to know what kind of childhood KGB had when his mom installed a pickleball court at 10. I didn't know pickleball was a thing.
She is the originator. I don't know why else.
That's like
we didn't know what it
17
was
years ago.
back then. Yeah. No,
Okay.
absolutely. Well, it was 19 years. Oh, my goodness. It was 19 years ago.
All right. Anyway.
What am I doing with my life?
So I've been asking myself that question for years, KGB. Anyway, you brought something actually good for this segment.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So there was an incident on with a plane landing, and the pilot, well, she had no clue that this happened.
Somebody saw some sparks from one of your wings. You guys feel anything?
We didn't, but we'll check it.
The Delta regional flight arrived from Jacksonville, Florida just after 10 Sunday night. 80 passengers and crew on board. Conditions were suboptimal but not extreme. Winds gusting to 35 miles per hour with some mist in the air. The plane then circling for another landing attempt. In a statement, Delta says the crew executed a go-around, then landed safely and proceeded to its arrival gate, adding, "We apologize to our customers for the experience."
So she had no idea that her wing clipped the ground.
None.
How is that possible?
Oh,
I've never.
My goodness.
Now, is this Endeavor?
Yes, this is Endeavor.
So we all know that in Endeavor, I forget what was their slogan, because it was like some anti-man slogan.
I think their slogan now is, book somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah, they have been in the past, Joan. You remember this?
Yeah.
Where their marketing was literally anti-man.
It was the songs and the aisles and.
Yeah, no male pilots allowed. Now, I don't know if that's still the case because they've had some issues last couple of months, but I just don't understand how you have sparks flying off your wing as it scrapes against the concrete, and you have no idea.
You don't even notice. You don't even feel it.
What is worse, actually scraping the wing or not knowing that you did it?
Oh, not knowing.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if there was wind and something happened, I mean, I'm sure this has happened before with pilots, but no, we didn't feel anything. It's just,
you want to put the next flight in danger.
Yes. Well, one of the things that, like, if like the tower says that to you, the answer's got to be yes. Yeah, we know it's under control, but don't just, lie is what you need to do.
Yes, lie. Say you were aware. We apologize.
By the way, I think Joan has something for you, Chris.
Yeah, she gave them to me.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to say what they are?
It was a Tupperware full of her husband's
He's not going to say it.
Irish potatoes.
Okay.
Good save.
Good save. Well done.
Thank you.
We survive another day.
Hey, real quick.
Remember, the bosses are in
She
town.
handed them to me, and I said, "Are they as savory as Dan says?"
All right, moving right along.
It was fun working with you, Chris.
By the way, I'm in the doghouse not only because I shanked Semisonic and I shanked Theory of a Dead Man, but I also, those Irish potatoes did not make it home. I said, but honey, you said you want me to help you lose weight. No, that's what you said.
You did not say that.
Now he just said it on the air.
Oh, Dan.
What? No,
Joan, do you want to tell him? Because
There's
I don't...
ample space underneath the deck at your house to sleep under tonight. I'm pretty sure.
All I'm saying is that, oftentimes people will say, like women will say, or spouses will, actually, I've said this to her, don't let me eat bad stuff. That's all I'm saying. Don't let me eat bad stuff. So your husband's Irish potatoes
are bad stuff.
They're really good, but in a really bad kind of way. So, So I didn't bring them home. I ate them all myself on the way home. And then I got spoken to when I got home. Why didn't you bring me any of Joan's Irish potatoes? And I said, well, I didn't think you'd want to eat them. And she said, well, you were wrong.
Do you want to take one from
I need to take a.
See, I already packed a little more for him. So you would have had more, Chris.
Okay.
But I had to give some to Dan.
Perfect.
For Amy.
Listen, we got to look out for Dan.
That's right.
It takes a lot of looking too, because I
hope you enjoy my husband's Irish potatoes.
Anybody who heard yesterday's segment at this time knows exactly what we're talking about.
If you know, you know.
So, Yeah, I got to stop reading the text line. Apparently I owe my wife an apology. Moving right along. All right, so should people tell me, should I take the dollar or should I?
Take it.
Well, I want to know what the super texter said.
75% said yes.
All right. I am a capitalist. And I got
it's probably counterfeit.
Oh, you're going to get busted.
Anyway, moving right along. It is 8:55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, we are expecting some storms around here tonight, this afternoon and tonight. We'll talk about whether or not those are going to be severe or just maybe a little bit strong. That's all coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:55, Dan Matt here. America is full of gun stores, but here in Middle Tennessee, my home for all things two-way is the Glock store. Whether it is training, buying, or upgrading, you can count on the Glock store. Now, one of the reasons Glocks are the most popular handgun in America is that there's so many custom and performance parts. You've got night sights and competition triggers and red dot optics. There's so many ways to upgrade your firearm. I've done all of these, by the way. They can do it at the Glock store for free and while you wait. There's always a gunsmith on duty. And yes, you heard that right. You buy the parts, they will install them for free while you wait. So there's so many reasons to like the Glock store. I love the training. I love the selection. I love the upgrading as well. I know that you'll find lots of reasons to like the Glock store as well. Find them online, shoot270.com and glockstore.com.